Last night in Game 1, LSU fell behind early, making some costly errors. But the Tigers' starting pitcher, Anthony Renato, kept his team close. And Ryan Schimpf's big 3-run home run gave the Tigers a lead they wouldn't give up. Tonight, LSU hopes to eliminate the Owls and move on to Omaha and the College World Series. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. It's another gorgeous June day in the Deep South. LSU one win away from heading back to the College World Series. The Tigers can eliminate the Owls with a victory tonight here in Baton Rouge. The Arkansas Razorbacks won again today to become the first team to advance to the College World Series, which starts a week from today. The winner of this series between Rice and LSU will meet the Virginia Ole Miss winner, which is going to a third game tomorrow. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to the new Alec Box Stadium here in Baton Rouge alongside my partner, Kyle Peterson, former three-time All-American at Stanford. I'm Clay Matvick. And LSU has Rice right where they want him. The offense came alive yesterday, a big 6-run fifth inning, and Ryan Schimpf provided the key blow.
Guy that's led him in home runs all season, and Schimpf is a guy that in this offense sometimes gets overlooked. I mean, we talk about a lot of the other guys in this offense, but Schimpf has the numbers that really stand out. Last night comes up in a big spot, left on left. 3-run home run that gives LSU at that point a 5-4 lead, and the offense would just continue from there, and that had this place jumping from then on out.
Yeah, record-setting crowd last night. Besides that inning, Rice wasn't bad last night, and the country got a glimpse of rookie Anthony Rendon for Rice. You can see why he was Conference USA's Player of the Year.
Well, in the national freshman year, this is a kid you're going to see play for a long time. He will play in the big leagues if he stays healthy. At that third base position, big-time power. Hit a ball out of sight last night to left center field. You just don't see freshmen like Rendon very often. 3 hits last night, scored a couple runs. He was a lot of the Rice offense. They'll need more than him tonight if they're going to even this thing up.
LSU looking for the knockout goes with righty Lewis Coleman. Rice countering with Ryan Berry, hoping to force a Game 3.
Champions of college baseball.
The NCAA Super Regionals is presented on ESPN by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by GMC. We are professional grade.
What a great tailgating spot. Baton Rouge. Probably the best food in college baseball. You and I could speak to that. Let's take a look at our Coca-Cola starting lineup. First for LSU, as they are the visiting team in this game too. It's DJ LeMahieu leading off, followed by Ryan Schimpf. Let's see what he can do for an encore. Blake Dean in the 3 spot. Micah Gibbs, Mikey Matuk, Jared Mitchell, Sean Ochinko getting the start again. Derek Helenihi getting the start at third base tonight. And Austin Nola is the shortstop. They're going to be facing Ryan Berry. He's the 6th best ERA in the country right now. And he's had some injury issues this year, Kyle Peterson, but certainly a guy that they're happy to have on a mound in a big game like this.
Yeah, and I think he's ready to go. I mean, Barry pitched last weekend and threw the ball fairly well. Gave up a fair amount of hits to K-State, but other than that, threw the ball well. But a guy that has a ton of experience. Has pitched in Omaha the last 2 years. Obviously one of the top ERAs in the entire country. What to watch with Barry is early contact. He's real good when guys put the ball in place. Not going to strike a ton of guys out, but he will get a ton of ground balls. If he's getting early swings and early contact, Barry usually has success.
So LeMahieu ready to dig in as LSU hits first. They've got their purple tops on tonight. Last night they wore the gold jerseys. DJ LeMahieu out of Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, which is near Detroit. Fouls the first pitch off from Berry. Strike 1. LeMahieu has made a pretty successful transition from shortstop to second base. We talked about it a little bit last night. Paul Maneri, the head coach for the Tigers, has pushed the right buttons again this year with moving some guys around. happened 40 games into the year, but since then the Tigers have been on a hot streak.
And I like the way LeMahieu looks at second base. I mean, he moves around okay, and remember, he's only been there for about 25 games now, so he's still learning that position.
Backs away from that one. 2 balls and a strike.
So, man, Chris Guillon getting him going already. Chris brought us some food up here. I'm going to give you some in a little bit, but I'm going to take some first.
What did he bring up here?
I'm sure we got some frog legs and some gator.
2 and 2.
They always treat us well down here.
You know, I wasn't kidding about the best food in college baseball. I think it's right here.
Yeah.
You know, the last 2 years, you and I have been lucky enough to do the Super Regionals here in Baton Rouge. And I think you and I have added about 5 pounds each year.
Yeah, that might be low.
Inside out swing the other way and down the line for LeMahieu. It's going to get in. He's going to try for extra bases. Gets away from Mozingo and right. He doesn't know it, and he slid into second. DJ LeMahieu could have had 3. But he thought he was going to have a hard enough time getting 2, and he slid into second. He'll hold up there.
Ball hit to the right side. When you come out of the box, everything's in front of you. So it's really the decision of the hitter as to whether or not he wants to press this. And you see LeMahieu's going to stay on this ball the entire time. Down that line, really no chance for Mozingo to get to it in time, and then he bobbles it. But when the bobble happens, LeMahieu's already committed to second base, and his head's down, so he's not going to see this. Most times, guys are going to look at the third base coach, but not here. I mean, he's busting to try again in the second. Make sure that he scores, and I don't see any problem with this. You can't look again. He's already committed. Good effort to slide in, and you look at it from the top and say, why wasn't he at third base? I like that he just committed to second.
And now Ryan Schimpf will hit. Another thing too, Kyle, is that Javi Sanchez, the third base coach for the Tigers, I'm sure he was as loud as he could possibly be, but this is a loud building when something goes right for the Tigers.
Yeah, and it just continually gets louder. I mean, the more things that they do, this place gets jumping.
A ball and a strike to Schimpf, who last night went 2 for 4 with that big 3-run home run. He drove in 4 runs total in game 1. Now here's a chance to drive in 1 early for LSU. Ryan Berry, 7-1 on the year. And Schimpf calls time, and he is granted time by the home plate umpire. Bill Speck moving from first base to behind the plate tonight. Berry, first team All-Conference USA, despite missing a lot of time. Missed 5 weeks with a shoulder injury. Misses off the plate, 2 balls and a strike. As you see what Schimpf was able to do in game 1 and his season numbers.
See the approach so far in this at bat to Schimpf, and I think that's going to stay pretty consistent. Away, away, and probably soft away. I want to give him everything to drive here.
This one gets out of play. It's 2-2. It's interesting. Last night we were talking about Mike Ojala and his injury situation. And it's the same thing for Ryan Berry. Part of the reason that Wayne Graham had one of the most difficult seasons as the head coach at Rice, his top 2 starters were out at the same time for the better part of a month.
About half of their conference season. You talk about losing your Friday and Saturday guy for that long.
2-2 is high. It's now a full count to Schimpf.
Rice did not win the regular season at Conference USA this year, and that has not happened for a long time. They did win the conference tournament in advance, but you know that's a big part of it. I mean, you lose your 1 and 2 guy in the middle of the season, and even though Wayne Graham always has a deep pitching staff, that's just something that very few teams can overcome.
Walked him. 2 on and nobody out for LSU here in the first. Only the 16th walk allowed this season by Ryan Berry. Here's the defense behind him. It's Michael Fuda in left field, Steven Solzbaugh in center, and Chad Mozingo out in right. Anthony Rendon, very good bat, but we've also seen already in this Super Regional excellent glove. Rick Haig, Brock Holt, and Jimmy Camarada from third to first. And Craig Manuel getting the start tonight behind the plate. Diego Seastrunk, who was the starter behind the plate last night, is the DH today.
Manuel, the freshman, has caught Berry for most of this year, and so Wayne Graham just trying to keep that consistent. Puts the freshman behind the plate. Seastrunk will DH.
And Blake Dean now for LSU. One of the great power hitters in this program's history. already 8th on the team's all-time list with 42 career homers. And he has been a bane in Rice's side in the past. Down in the zone, 2 balls and no strikes. Last year, Dean had that walk-off 3-run double to beat Rice at the College World Series and send the Owls home. Last night, 2 for 3 with a run batted in and 3 runs scored. And it's 3-0 as Ryan Berry continues to struggle here against the first 3 hitters in the LSU lineup.
I think that the walk to Schimpf was kind of unintentional, intentional. You don't worry about putting a guy on first base, nobody out, can still roll the double play, but they definitely didn't want to go 3-0 to Blake Dean right now. Berry has some of the best control in the entire country. But right here, you get a good hitter like Dean at a 3-0 count. I'd be surprised if he's not green lighted.
Swung on, hit well to right field, but right at Mazingo, who comes in to make the catch. That was a laser off the bat of Dean, but it's out number 1.
And Rice might have dodged a bullet right there, too, because Paul Beneri rolls the dice, and I think rightly in this case, when Dean can do so many things with the bat, you give him a chance to swing at 3-0, and he got a pitch he could really handle. A fastball down the middle, just happened to hit it right at the right fielder. Mazingo didn't hardly take 2 steps. A couple of them in, right at him, and that changes the entire inning. And for Wayne Graham, this might be the fastest he's ever had to come out and talk to Ryan Berry. Now, the good news for Wayne Graham is they haven't allowed any runs, and I think Berry's a guy that maybe most coaches would get a little bit more worked up in this situation, but you know that more times than not he's going to work himself out of this jam. I think in this spot, it's just being a little bit over anxious. You get in the setting, there's over 9,000 people here, and he's a kid that knows how important the situation is. He looks like he might just be a little bit too amped up.
Rice used 5 pitchers last night, so if Wayne Graham can go a long way with Ryan Berry tonight, that's certainly to their benefit. 1 out for Micah Gibbs for LSU. Gibbs, the switch hitting catcher. Takes high, ball 1. Gibbs hitting .291 on the year. Last night, 1 for 3 with a walk. Everybody in the LSU lineup contributed some way offensively last night.
That's how they can beat you. I mean, they are so deep.
And Berry misses there. 2 balls and no strikes. As you see, DJ LeMahieu still at second base after the leadoff double. And Ryan Schimpf leading away from first. 2 on, 1 out for LSU. Top of the first inning. LSU playing at home, but they're the visiting team in game 2. There's a called strike on the outside black.
If you're LSU, you got to take advantage of this situation. You're not going to get too many options to get a couple guys on early with nobody out, not 1 out against a guy like Berry. And he's going to find that control. So when guys like this are struggling, you got to pile a couple on right at the beginning because you know it's inevitable that at some point he's going to find the zone.
Breaking pitch, a little high, 3-1. Ryan Berry, starter of course, but Graham has used him out of the pen too this year. He lost to Kansas State as a starter in the regional May 30th, but then came back to close out the win 2 days later against the Wildcats in the title game. Finds the zone there, and now it's a full count with Mikey Matuk on deck for LSU. Walked him. Bases loaded for the Tigers. So Gibbs is on, and they're jammed for Matuk. You know, Ryan Berry is a throwback. Everything about him, as you can see, is reminiscent of maybe a decade or 2 ago. Even his delivery is unpolished. Right now, he's struggling with these Tigers, struggling finding the strike zone.
But He's still one pitch away from getting out of this, and I can guarantee you that's what Barry's thinking right now. What I like about the mechanics is it looks like he's playing catch in the backyard. I mean, it looks like he just went and back, grabbed the ball, and throws. And for Barry, it's real easy to repeat. And that's the key on the mound. If you've got mechanics you can repeat most of the time, you're going to have some success.
Misses to Matuk. Mikey Matuk last night was 1 for 3 with a run batted in, and he also had a great catch in center field. Diving toward the alley. LSU, chance for a big inning here in the top of the first. Nobody's taking the bat off their shoulder as they're waiting for Ryan Barry to throw some strikes.
To me, it's interesting, too, because I would be surprised if the LSU offensive game plan today was not to jump on Barry early, because you know he's going to throw a lot of strikes. But they've had to adjust that so far because of that right there. I mean, 23 pitches, just 8 strikes so far.
There's one. 2-1 now. Matuk has had a great rookie year. He was a reserve at the beginning of the season, but since March 25th, he has been the starting center fielder. A couple of home run balls against Harvard here at Alec Box, and since then he's been the starter. And now Barry comes back to even out the count at 2.
Now we'll see if he tries to expand the zone against the freshman. You get him in a 2-2 count, and it's natural for a freshman to be a little bit anxious in a spot like this. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a breaking ball out of the zone to see if Matuk will chase.
Breaking ball. This could be the ball he was looking for. They're only going to get one as they throw out Matuk. LeMahieu scores, and it's a 1-0 lead for LSU.
Well, they got away with run right here. That's a breaking ball that caught way too much of the zone. In this case, you're trying to either throw it down and just out of the zone or even bounce it thinking that Matuk might chase. But watch the sequence right here. A couple breaking balls to start it off to the freshman. Now you're going to come back with fastballs. So 2 fastballs over to even the count at 2-2. And then a curveball that stayed belt high. I mean, he got away with it and is lucky that Matuk didn't hit that ball in the gap.
LSU 33-3 this year against right-handed starting pitching. They're facing a right-hander here in game 2 of this series against Rice, and they've already gotten to Barry for 1. There's Jared Mitchell taking strike 1. Mitchell coming off a great regional. He was named to the all-tournament team last night, however, went 0 for 4, still drove in a run, managed to steal a base, and was also caught stealing once. One of the fastest guys in the country. And it's a ball and a strike to Mitchell. 2-sport athlete, also a wide receiver for the football team. But he has been concentrating more on baseball this year, and you can see he's had an excellent season. Took something off. And third base umpire Joe Burleson says no, he didn't go.
You know, the thing that impresses me a lot about Mitchell, too, is he's got the highest on-base percentage on this entire LSU team. So from a professional standpoint, the speed is obviously there. He's shown you a little bit of power this year. Defensively, he's real good. But the plate discipline and the ability to get on even if he doesn't get a hit has been great.
Now it's 2-2 as Barry is just a pitch away from getting out of this inning.
Well, if he wiggles out of this too and only gives up 1 run, I mean that's a win for Rice. The bases loaded with 1 out, but now in a 2-2 count with a pretty dangerous hitter up there. He's not out of it yet.
Got it. Ryan Barry. A little ticklish there, but he works out of it. 1 run on 1 hit for LSU. We've played a half. Tigers on top. Not an easy start for Wayne Graham's Rice Owls. He's already had to make 1 trip to the mound, but got out of a tough spot. 18th season for Coach Graham. 4-time National Coach of the Year. Here's his Coca-Cola starting lineup. Rice will lead off Brock Holt for the 2nd straight game, followed by Rick Haig, Chad Mazingo, Anthony Rendon is the 3rd baseman batting cleanup. Diego Seastrunk goes from behind the plate to the designated hitter role tonight. Michael Fuda, Steve Soltzbach, Craig Manuel, and Jimmy Camarada. The right-hander Lewis Coleman is pitching for LSU. An excellent season, 12-2 on the year. The 2009 SEC Pitcher of the Year.
Guy that coming into this year LSU looked at is probably going to be their closer. Started the 1st game of the year. But after that, they thought he would go back to the bullpen. The freshman Maniata has been so good, allowed Lewis Coleman to be a starter, and he has absolutely flourished in that role. 119 strikeouts in 106 innings. You see a guy that really throws across his body. We'll talk about that more as the game goes on, but it's very difficult for right-handed hitters. Real good fastball and a good slider that comes off of it, but difficult for guys to pick the ball up because he hides it real well.
So Rice already down a run, needing to win here today to force a game 3, which would be played tomorrow night here in Baton Rouge. It's Brock Holt to lead it off. Holt 1 for 5, a couple of runs batted in game 1. And he takes strike 1. Brock Holt had that 2-run home run in the 9th inning, which gave Rice a ray of hope. But as it happens, LSU was able to win at 12-9. Ball and a strike to Holt. And, you know, when we were talking with Wayne Graham this week, he said, you know, keep an eye on Holt. He's got a lot of power from that leadoff spot.
Showed us that last night.
And he's got a base hit. A leadoff knock for Holt. And LSU defensively looks this way. It's Schimpf, Matuk, and Mitchell in the outfield. Very speedy outfield, I might add. Derek Helenihi is at third. Freshman Austin Nola, who's had an excellent season at short. DJ LeMahieu. And Sean Ochenko on the right side. And Micah Gibbs is the catcher. Defense was an issue last night for LSU.
Yeah, specifically for the freshmen. All 3 freshmen in the starting lineup made 1 error last night. Led to really 3 of Rice's 4 early runs. But after that, he settled down a little bit. They made a change at third base. Helenihi is in today. A little bit of a defensive change, I think, today for Paul Mainieri.
Coleman checking the runner Holt over at first base. Yeah, you mentioned it. All the errors came from freshmen, and in a setting like this, the Super Regional in front of, you know, almost 10,000 people here in Baton Rouge, it had to be a bit unnerving for the young guys.
Even though they play in this ballpark a lot, this is a different feeling than it's been all year.
This one's fouled off by Haig. 2 strikes to count.
I mean, you get the place that's packed. I mean, we set an attendance record last night. I know it's only a year old, but set an attendance record last night. But I mean, you expect them to settle down a little bit tonight. And really, a couple of them were purely mental mistakes. I mean, the mistake by Nola was more of a mental mistake because he made a throw he shouldn't have made. The mistake by Matuk in center was a mental mistake, just kind of taking his eye off the ball.
And on the hands, and Haig is able to fight it off. Haig's a guy who leads Rice in strikeouts, but also gets his share of knocks. That's why Wayne Graham keeps him in the 2-hole. Last night went 1 for 5 at the plate, but also struck out twice. So Wayne Graham taking the good with the bad with Rick Haig. The 0-2 hit him, and Lewis Coleman now, much like Ryan Berry for Rice, having a tough first inning. Here are the errors last night for LSU, and Paul Mainieri said, hey guys, we need to just settle down. And after that 3rd error, they really did.
No, they absolutely did. But I mean, up until that point, it looked like Rice was really going to be in control of this game. This one really was one of those tough ones. Ochenko misses the ball at first base, but he missed it because he lost it in the sun. The freshman Matuk, it looked like he kind of took his eye off that ball right at the end. That's a ball where you ought to be using 2 hands anyway. But after that, when the bats really woke up for LSU, they played pretty good defense the rest of the way.
Good bunt for Mazingo. Coleman goes to first base for the out, but he does his job getting Holt and Haig in scoring position. All right, an NCAA championship update in the studio to Ryan Burke.
Thanks so much. Joined by Will Kimmey. Cal State Fullerton crushed Louisville in game 1 and are on their way in game 2. Titans playing good baseball. Jared Clark, the 2-run double.
2-run double there. Also 3 stolen bases, a hit by pitch, and a sac bunt, just suffocating the Cardinals offensively.
And it's 4-zip. Cal State has only 3 hits, but the 4 runs out to the quick lead.
Well, an impressive start today for Fullerton, too, and they're doing it against Justin Marks, the ace of that Louisville staff. Thought he was going to throw yesterday. They held him back because he had pitched a little bit on Monday, but Fullerton today doing it against a guy that was the best arm in the Big East this year.
Now Anthony Rendon for Rice with 1 out here in the bottom of the 1st. Yeah, 2 on. So facing Lewis Coleman, the right-hander for LSU. Rendon has a 23-game hitting streak going. He was 3 for 4 with 2 runs batted in last night. He was on base 4 times. Hit his 20th home run of the year. And the guy is just a rookie. That strike on the outside corner. He's ahead of Rendon, 0-2.
They kind of surprised him right here. A couple fastballs to start. I would bet that Rendon doesn't see too many 1-2 or 2-pitch fastballs to start at bats. It was a good spot. It was a fastball on the outside part of the plate, but I think usually if somebody gets ahead of him, they're going to throw him a slider, and that one I think kind of took him by surprise.
Rendon goes down looking, and even after that, he's still got a smile on his face.
Yes, he does. I mean, he seems to smile about everything. This ball's outside. I mean, Gibbs has to go get it, and that ball's off the plate. Now, it's a good spot. It's exactly where you want to throw it in an 0-2 count, but the ball's outside. But 3 straight fastballs to Rendon, and I mean, you could tell. I think he was a little bit taken back that they went after him.
Now Coleman to Diego Seastrunk. And Lewis Coleman is digging deep here in the first inning. Seastrunk, the switch hitter, batting from the left side against the right-hander Coleman. Tries to spray this down the line, but it's foul. 0-2. Seastrunk is definitely one of the ringleaders of this Rice bunch. Very likable. Moved behind the plate from third base when Anthony Rendon took over that position. Trying to drive in a pair with a base hit here. Crowd comes to its feet. Coleman sails it high. 1-2. Seastrunk's numbers down a little bit, but certainly the position change has been a part of the reason why. It's a much more taxing position behind the plate than at third. Coleman gets the ground ball. This should do it. And Rice strands a pair as Lewis Coleman a little fist pump. As Ryan Berry did for Rice, Coleman digs deep and gets out of a jam in the first. The Road to Omaha continues on ESPN tomorrow with regional coverage from the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals. You're going to see North Carolina take on East Carolina. Game 1 of that series going to the Tar Heels. Baseball Super Regional coverage presented on ESPN by Capital One. That's Sunday at noon Eastern. Check your local listings. And follow us on the Road to Omaha on Facebook and Twitter. Search ESPN College World Series on Facebook. All the great stuff there. And our own KP is on Twitter. He is tweeting on all the great stuff that's going on in the regionals, and you're going to continue that when you get back to the Big O. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll do it all the way through the College World Series. Firing stuff away throughout the day, throughout the game today, too.
Are you a computer whiz?
No, not one bit. I think I've proven that so far this weekend. Every member, I think, of the LSU IT department has been over here to help me so far.
Sean Ochinko to lead off here for the Tigers, who have a 1-run lead. We'll see what Ryan Berry does here in inning number 2. He had a tough time against the Tigers in the top of the first. Gave up a leadoff double and had a pair of walks, but somehow only gave up 1 run. This one hit in the air left side. Foul ground. Rendon is given chase. Looks up and can't get to it. Rick Hague was late to the party. And now it looks like Rendon may have twisted an ankle.
Yeah, I think that Rick Hague got him on the way by. I think Hague might have spiked him on the way by because he was okay. And Hague kind of comes out of nowhere at the end. Hague's taking a more direct line to it. And you can see Rendon had to kind of peel off and go deep. And I think that's what happened. Watch Hague at the end. See Hague coming in right here? Right there. He steps on his right foot. And that's when he goes down. You can see the left foot of Hague come in and get Rendon on the right foot. I mean, right here he's okay. Nothing spins right there. comes in and clips him right at the end. And I mean, if you're Haig, he's not really looking for Rendon in this. You can really see it right here. Watch. See it right there.
No.
Got him and spun his ankle over. You hope he just sprained it.
And Rendon is a guy that this team can ill afford to lose. The player of the year from the league. Great defensive third baseman. And even though he's just a freshman, he is a leader on that team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a role he's really grown into this year. And I mean, so often, especially for kids that are that young, I mean, you become a leader because of the player you are. And with that brings so much more respect. Watch his mouth right here. This is what's scary. Watch what he says. It's broken. The first thing he said when the trainer got out there, he looked at her and said it's broken. And I mean, you could see it turn over, and obviously we can't tell from here. And you hope it's just a sprain. And sometimes we've all sprained our ankles. Sometimes that can hurt just as much as anything else. But I mean, that took him down in a hurry, and he's not putting any weight on it. I don't think he's going to be able to go. And for Haig, I mean, you're just trying to make a play. I mean, he's not really going to look out for him there. He's looking for the ball, and yeah, that is a killer for Rice right there.
Wayne Graham's eyes just light up when he talks about Anthony Rendon, one of the best players he's ever had as a hitter, as a defensive player, and he's a true freshman. And now it looks like he is coming out of the game for good. And they're going to come and carry him off. An ovation from the crowd here in Baton Rouge. Always some of the classiest fans in college baseball.
Well, I mean, they know what kind of a player this kid is. They saw him last night. He struck out his only at bat today, but this is, I mean, really one of the most exciting players that we're going to have in college baseball for the next couple of years. Remember the name. He's just a freshman. By the time he's a junior, I mean, if he stays healthy and hopefully obviously gets through this, I mean, this kid's a lock first rounder. He is a great talent, a wonderful kid too. We got to spend some time with him the other day, and you hope this is a spot that isn't anything more than just a sprain.
Rendon, the first player in Conference USA history to be named the Freshman of the Year and the Player of the Year in the same season. 20 home runs, leads the team. Hit a big home run last night. Hit a home run over Southern Miss in the Conference USA title game to help Rice win that tournament. And now Wayne Graham has to make a move here as he has lost his star player. Coming in is Jimmy Camarada over to third base, and Jess Binger is going to go to first.
If you try to find a positive in this, at least you bring a senior in Binger. Camarada's a guy that has really played everywhere in the infield. He played a lot of second base last year, was the regular second baseman for Rice. This year they moved him to first because Holt was so good there, so they had such a great defensive infield all the way around. When we talked to Wayne Graham the other day, he said we've got 4 shortstops. So now you move Camarada to third base, and you can bring the senior Binger in, who played a big part on the Rice team last year. But none of them are going to do what Rendon gives you the ability to do at third.
Ball and 2 strikes to Sean Ochinko. Wayne Graham was telling us this week that Rendon has wrists that remind him of Hank Aaron. And Wayne Graham got up to the major leagues back in the mid-60s, played with the Phillies, played with the Mets. He saw Hank Aaron play in person. And that's a heck of a compliment for a guy that's 19 years old.
Yeah. And what you saw when Rendon was at the plate is just how quick his hands are. Had a lot of movement. I mean, not as much as a guy like a Sheffield, where his hands are kind of whipping back and forth, but feet were kind of going back and forth. His hands are going back and forth, but they got in the right spot.
Camarada showing he's ready to play the hot corner. He dives when he doesn't even have to.
Wayne Graham calls him Jimmy Baseball. He said this guy, when he shows up on the field, is just, I mean, it's like the kid's been playing the game since he was born. plugged the hole at second base for him last year. Was a regular first baseman this year. Now with the injury to Rendon, he's laying out on the first ball he sees at third.
2-2 to Ochinko, and they got him. Strikeout number 2 for Ryan Berry. If you just tuned in, moments ago the Rice Owls lost their star player. It looked harmless enough as Rendon, number 23, suffered a right ankle injury chasing after that foul ball.
See the shortstop Haig come over. He's watching the ball. Rendon's watching the ball. Nobody really sees each other. And like the left foot of Haig that came down on the right ankle, and you could see it turn over right after that.
He was carried off the field, and it's a good bet that if this series goes 3 games, Rice would be without Anthony Rendon. Down the line, just outside of the bag, off the bat of Derek Helenihi. Ball and a strike to the LSU number 8 hitter. 1 out here for the Tigers as they lead at 1-0. They got a run in the top of the first. Boy, that really got in close on Helenihi. All the way to the backstop, 2-1. Where's this pitch count at here?
Well, it's way too high, especially if you're Wayne Graham right now. Before the game, he said, you know what, we've got to get a deep outing from Berry. He's got to go a long ways because they used 5 pitchers last night, 4 guys out of the bullpen. And Berry's a guy that historically has given the ability to go deep in the game. He said, you know what, we haven't had anybody go over 125 pitches, but twice this year. He said we might need that tonight from Berry, but he's got to go deep in this game for us to have a chance.
2-2 to Derek Helenihi. Off the end of the bat. Mike Ojala was the starter last night for Rice, and he was fine through 4, but got knocked out in the 5th. Taylor Wall came in. He is the number 3 starter for Rice, and he was roughed up right away. Gave up the 3-run home run to Schimpf. LSU sent 11 men to the plate in the 5th, scoring 6 runs, and the floodgates were open, and LSU never looked back.
Floodgates were open, and the fans got into it. That was one of the biggest things last night. Is when this crowd got into it, LSU was really good.
And now Helenihi has forced Berry into a 3-2 count. Helenihi getting the start at third for LSU tonight. Was the starter in right field last year. Another guy that's moved around. And Paul Maneri pushing the buttons as Berry battles and gets his 3rd strikeout.
Elevates the fastball right here, gets Helenihi in a 3-2 count, and takes advantage of Helenihi being a little bit anxious at the plate. That's just a little bit out of the zone, not much. I thought it was a little bit higher before we saw the replay. Watch where this ball comes across about bell high. Pretty good pitch to hit if you're Helenihi, but what Berry does so well is the ability to change speeds. And even though he throws 90-91, it makes it look harder.
And he gets ahead in the count here to Austin Nola. Freshman shortstop in the number 9 spot for the Tigers. And I think because the momentum was interrupted by the injury to Rendon, we cited the fact that Ryan Berry has found the strike zone now. He has struck out 3 hitters in a row.
You knew it was going to happen, and that's what I was saying in the first inning. If you're LSU, you got to take advantage of situations like that because it's not very often that Berry's going to lose his control. You don't walk 15 guys in the amount of innings he did this year, 75 or 80 innings, unless you can really spot it. And he can really spot it. And he's done it for 3 years. So with guys like that, mechanically there might be something that's just off. Either they're rushing a little bit to the plate, or they don't feel quite comfortable on the mound. But over time, and usually it doesn't take very long, they're going to get comfortable out there and get locked back into the zone. Berry's been that way again in this inning.
He struck out Mitchell to end the first. And he's been able to get Ochinko and Helenihi so far here in the 2nd on strikes. And it stays 1-2 to Nola.
You know what I like about Berry is just, we were talking about it a minute ago, just how simple it is. I mean, watch this. It looks like he's just playing catch. I mean, there's not a lot going on. The leg kick's not very high. Real easy, simple, good, solid follow through. Locks that front leg out when he goes to home plate. It's pretty quiet mechanics.
2-2.
That's what you like to see because it's easier to do the same thing over and over again.
Berry, according to Wayne Graham, says he walks to the beat of a different drummer. Gives up a base hit here toward the gap for Nola. He'll round first. He's going to try for second. Here comes the throw. It's late. It's a 2-out double for Austin Nola.
The freshman was put in there a couple months ago by Paul Manera because of his defense, but he's come up with some big hits for this LSU team in the last couple weeks. Had 2 giant hits last week in the Regional 1 to give him the win against Baylor. Now 2 outs, nobody on, comes up with a big 2-out double, and that's a good time too. You try to take a chance at second base. You're the 9-hole guy. You're going to turn the order around even if you get thrown out. You take a chance right there. Now a guy in scoring position with 2 outs, you can score on a single.
LeMahieu doubled his last time up, and he scored the only run of the game. And Berry starts him with a strike. DJ LeMahieu, starter at shortstop all of 2008, but now at second base. He and Nola make a pretty good middle infield tandem. Chopper to short. Short hop. Nice job by Haig to stay with it. Oh, what a play at first by Jess Binger to get the tag on the runner. He just came in after the injury to Rendon, and what a play.
It's the advantage you get with a senior coming in a spot like this. He's been in similar situations and bails them out right here.
1-0 LSU, but Rice without their star now.
The Lakers defended their home court advantage in Game 1. Now Kobe Bryant just 3 wins from a 4th ring. But the Magic have thrived in the underdog role throughout the playoffs. And Dwight Howard's team knows how to fight back. It's Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern on ABC.
Kobe absolutely went off in Game 1. 40 points. Stars have star-like performances when games mean the most. That's Kobe Bryant.
They knocked Orlando around in that first game too.
Yeah.
I mean, the Magic came in on fire.
Rice goes to hit here in the bottom of the second, and for the rest of this game they're going to be without Anthony Rendon, and it's a good bet that if the series goes another game that they're going to be without him tomorrow too. He suffered an ankle injury. His right ankle was turned on a foul ball play last inning, and he was carried off the field. Michael Fuda leading off here for the Owls. It'll be Fuda, Schultzbaugh, and Manuel to hit for Rice. Lewis Coleman buries a strike there. It's 1-2. The Tigers are in front of their home fans. Over 9,000 of them again here tonight. But they're the visiting team, and they're not in their usual dugout or their locker room, which is beautiful, by the way. Brand new here at Alec Box, just like everything else.
Things the NCAA does. If you're the home team, you're on one side designated. If you're the visiting team, you're on the other side, and you stay in those clubhouses.
Strikeout number 2 for Lewis Coleman.
A little bit of everybody helping him out today too. So that's what it looks like generally when LSU's in there. But we had to make some changes today. Look at those nameplates. Now they roll in. Now watch who comes out to help here in a minute. Look at this. How about that? The guy does everything around here. And there's the finished product, and Rice coming in.
It's a shame they had to cover up that beautiful locker room.
Yeah. I would assume Rice liked it a little bit better with the curtains up than the way it was before, though.
Schultzbaugh hitting now for Rice. It's a ball and a strike.
You know, what's funny is they weren't even using it. I mean, they were done with BP and they were sitting in the dugout. And I mean, you're not used to stuff like that on the road anyway.
LSU had to get all its stuff out of the locker room and move to the visitor's side. We'll show you that in just a second. Here's the 2-1 to Schultzbaugh. 3 of them. Schultzbaugh last night was 1 for 4. He hit a solo home run. And probably the hottest hitter next to Rendon in this Rice lineup.
We talked to Wayne Graham the other day. He said this kid's on fire. We always got to make sure that we've got him in there. I like kept him at 8th just because he'd been comfortable at 8th in the lineup. And last night hit a ball where it looked like Rice might run away and hide with that game. Gave him a 4-1 lead.
Tough play there for LeMahieu. And it's going to be an infield hit for Solzbaugh as he put it right in the right spot on that right side.
He did, but Ochenko at first base has to break to make this play, and his first movement was to the bag. Watch him kind of halt right there. You see him break to the base, and the minute he breaks to the base, he has no chance to get to this ball. As a first baseman, you got to go get everything you can and trust that the pitcher's going to get over there in time. But it was too far for the second baseman, LeMahieu, to go. But once that first movement from Ochenko was towards first base, there's no way he has enough time to get back there.
So a man on with 1 out, and Craig Manuel to hit for the first time in this Super Regional. Getting the start behind the plate for the Owls. He is a freshman from Satellite Beach, Florida. A late recruit out of the state of Florida for Wayne Graham. Hit and run was on. Actually, the stolen base attempt is going to be out down there at second. As this another great throw from Micah Gibbs as Solzbaugh is retired.
It'll be interesting to see if Wayne Graham changes anything now that Anthony Rendon's out. You get a guy in Solzbaugh. It was pretty good speed, but just 7 stolen bases on the year. And Manuel, a guy who's been good at the plate, but not great all year. And the first pitch they try to put the hit and run on, and Solzbaugh really has no chance. We'll see if he tries to get a little bit more aggressive now with Rendon out of the lineup.
1-1 to Manuel. Manuel, the backup catcher to Diego Seastrunk, who is the DH tonight. Here's the visitors' locker room. This is what LSU was supposed to use tonight, but apparently they got dressed somewhere else and said,
we're okay.
Skip it.
We're all right, thanks. Rolled in full unit. They're ready to go.
Lazy fly ball to center. Matuk is there to make the catch. And Coleman gives up a hit but faces the minimum in the second. 1-0 LSU. Beautiful night in Baton Rouge, and you're watching ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented on ESPN by Capital One. 1-0 LSU as we head to the third inning, and we bring in a legend in these parts. Skip Bertman, the former baseball coach and athletic director here at LSU. And Coach, it's your first year of retirement from LSU athletics. What have you been doing with all your time?
Well, I'm almost retired. I'm raising money for the athletic department and other parts of the university and doing a lot of goodwill stuff, and still enjoy it here. It's a wonderful place and a wonderful school.
Well, you're enjoying it here at a different place this year. We saw you last year. We were, maybe a quarter mile right up the road. What a ballpark. Just kind of talk about what this new place is going to mean to this program.
Well, it's been a great vision for about 10 years, and we finally got it done. We fit a few more thousand in. We've got a lot more to do in right field, and we've got some things to do out front.
As this one is fouled off by Ryan Schimpf. And this one's going to get out of play. We saw an injury down in that side of the field not that long ago, Coach, and
wow, that
got a little ugly.
Oh, that was unfortunate. The fans, of course, recognized how talented he was and what a bad break that was for Rice. That was sad to see that.
Anthony Rendon leaving the game for the Owls. Yeah, this ballpark didn't spare any expense.
We raised a lot of money and borrowed some and put in parts of the old box and things that the fans needed. Since it was built by a coach, naturally has a lot of things for Paul and the coaches and the players.
Yeah. Swung and missed, and Schimpf goes down on his strikeout number 4 for Ryan Berry.
And we get to see a lot of those things. I mean, the clubhouse and all the stuff down underneath. A little bit of a change, I would assume, from what it was when you started over at the old Alec box. What have been the biggest changes since you started coaching it now?
Well, in terms of the fans, the weekend we played Florida, we drew more fans in the 3 days than I had in my first year.
Wow.
With 35 games. But I think the changes that we've seen over the years, number one is, I've mentioned to you before, and I'm going to say it again, the popularity of baseball because of ESPN.
Yeah.
and people like yourself that have put it out there for people to enjoy this great game. On the other hand, I think the officiating has changed. I think there's better coaching. I think there's travel leagues that have really put baseball players at a higher level, allowed a lot of teams to become very, very competitive, and the NC2A is very happy with the results.
One out here for LSU. It's 2-1 to Blake Dean. Swung on. This one is going to get down for a hit. Dean will round first. And it's a one-out single here for LSU.
Skip, tell me, how do you watch a game now? I mean, what are you watching from the sidelines? What kind of sticks out to you as now you watch it as a fan?
As I sit back there, that's a great question. As I sit back there, especially behind home plate, I see pitchers that can throw 2-1, 2-0 breaking balls. And now you could do that, but when you played, but not many could. You know, mostly all 2-0 is always a fastball, 3-1 is always a fastball. They can really pitch even backwards if they have to today. I see a lot on 95s and 96s where that was very rare. You know, that was unusual stuff. I see much better hitting than I did then. I think the coaches do a much better job in hitting instruction.
Micah Gibbs up there now for the Tigers. 2 balls and no strikes. Man on, 1 out here for LSU, leading 1-0. We're talking with Skip Bertman, legendary head coach of the Tigers, former athletic director. Have you had a chance to kind of reflect on what you were able to accomplish yet?
Well, I really do feel good about the rise of baseball in the nation. I think in the Sun Belt states or any place that the people want to commit and build a stadium, I think people will come out to watch it. Such a great game played by great kids. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of what's happened here in Louisiana too.
2-2 now to Gibbs. 5 national championships, 4 in the 90s, 1 in the year 2000. Of those, which one stands out maybe the most?
Well, naturally those things never get old, but of course Warren Morris, 96.
Strike 3 called, out number 2, and strikeout number 5 for Barry.
With 2 outs in the 9th, of course, hit a homer's never been done before or since in the college game. And that was very unusual. He was injured for 42 games, and of course it was a great story. That was a great team, and but as you know, guys, just getting to Omaha is a wonderful thing.
Yeah. How about in 1997 when you had to face my partner Kyle Peterson? Does that stand out at all?
I thought we weren't going to bring that up. I thought we had agreed on that.
Chad, he was a great one, but that was a great team.
Here's a ground ball Mott took. And thrown out by Camarada. Hey, I'll tell you what, Coach, you want to stick around? Do you want to talk a little more maybe next inning?
Sure.
All right, we'll hang on to Skip Bertman, the legendary former head coach of the Tigers. We'll continue our chat after the break. 1-0 LSU. Alongside Kyle Peterson, Clay Matvick back here in Baton Rouge. And wow, think about what the Tigers did in the 90s. 91 winning the first championship. Another one in 93. Todd Walker had a big year.
Yes, it did.
96, there's that Warren Morris walk-off. Then in 97, that's when the Tigers got to Kyle Peterson at Stanford. And in 2000, LSU defeating Stanford again. 13-0 in that postseason. And we're joined by Skip Bertman, the head coach at that time of the LSU Tigers, as Rice hits here at the bottom of the 3rd. Some great memories there, Coach.
Wonderful memories. Omaha just is better than the Rose Bowl, better than the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful play. The NC2A just does such a wonderful job with its committee members in baseball. In Omaha, the people, as you guys know, it's just such a wonderful place. Now to spend 2 weeks there or 10 days or just to win a couple games is a great thing for any team.
Lewis Coleman deals and catches the corner there. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Skip, Omaha's home to me now again. We've been back there for a couple years. So I've been able to see this new ballpark coming up, and I know that Rosenblatt holds a real special place in your heart. Feelings on that? I mean, seeing the old place go away and a new one come up.
As it's a ground ball for Camarada. Nola the throw, and there's 1 out for Rice here in the 3rd.
Wow, nice play. The new stadium in Omaha, a lot of people have called me, and originally started at 50, 60, 70. And after building this one, as we were getting ready to pay for it, he says, look, you know, you're going to go way over $100 million to put in this kind of ballpark. When they finally got it done, I'm for that because I think that they can do a lot with the zoo. And make it into a world-class zoo. I think it's good for the city, and they've been good to us.
Yeah, that's a lot of space for that zoo to
yeah,
absorb.
allows that to expand. I mean, it is going to be great too. I mean, when you come in from the airport now, it's one of the first things you'll see. Kind of start with the city in the back. It'll be tough to see the old place go, but the new one's going to be pretty special.
Well, you know, they replace Yankee Stadium and all the rest of them, and I'm about as much a traditionalist as anybody, but I think the fans deserve, and the players that go there deserve better facilities. And God bless Rosenblatt Stadium. I mean, it did its job. There's no question about it.
Brock Holt hitting here for Rice. And it's 2 balls and a strike.
Skip, what do you think about some of the most recent changes in kind of the rules side, the limit on the roster to the 35 and the different things they're doing on the scholarship side? You for those? You think they're good moves?
Well, Kyle, the problem is baseball is the only sport that has a limit, you know, 35.
Yeah.
I don't really think that's necessary. I think having 27 people on scholarship and 8 people that don't have a scholarship, I think, is also not so good. And I think the committee and I think the NC2A is working on it. I think it all started because we didn't have the grades that we really should have had because of the transfer rule, and that's been fixed.
Hit to right center field. Going back is Mikey Matuk. Reaching up and can't get it. It's a home run for Brock Holt. His second home run in 2 games. And Rice has tied this one up at 1.
You know, we talk about Lewis Coleman and the way that he hides the ball. It's a lot more difficult for a right-hander and a left-hander. For a lefty, you can see that ball a lot quicker. And this time you saw Holt react to it. Fastball, it's not a bad spot. I mean, it's down in the zone, but Skip, we were talking about this during the break. I mean, the difference between a right-hander facing Coleman and a left-hander facing Coleman, that's a big gap because as a righty, it's tough to pick out.
Yeah, the scouts really commented on that. Like Lewis is going to have to get some change-up, a pitch that dips for the left-handers because they can see the ball, as you obviously pointed out, much better. And, of course, Brock really did hit that one. And today the ball's carrying very well.
Yeah, it is. It's blowing a little bit out that way where Holt hit it.
Look out over there now.
And you almost got a foul ball, Coach.
Oh, people would have thrown their body in front of over here. I mean, I'm okay.
Rick Hague hits here now for Rice as we're tied up. Coach, have you noticed that this ballpark plays a little bit differently than the old Alec box?
Well,
soft fly ball to center. Matuk has a short gallop for out number 2.
This ballpark does play a little bit. The shadows are starting already, as you can see.
Yeah.
That didn't happen in the old ballpark. The batter's eye is a little bit different in this one, although I don't think it's a big factor. But the wind, this has a lot more open space, and it's not as loud overall as even though there's 2,000 more people as the old one. And I think that the old one's a little closer to the river, and I think the wind's a little different here.
Mazingo. Nice stop by Helenihi. Comes up firing for out number 3. What a play by Derek Helenihi. Coach, thank you very much. Enjoy your retirement. We appreciate the time.
Thanks a lot, boys.
We're tied at 1.
Ryan Burt, Will Kimmey in studio. Southern Miss and Florida continue to go back and forth in Gainesville. 5-5 game, bottom of the 5th wheel.
Yeah, look, Taylor Thompson with the fly ball. Cameron Brunty with a great effort here. Turns into a sac fly, but this game just back and forth. Southern Miss got runners on again now.
The 2 on and 1 out for Southern Miss. They trail 6-5 in the 6th. Louisville and Fullerton. Fullerton 5-1. They won game 1 12-zip, so Fullerton looking good to move on to Omaha.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. We're back here in Baton Rouge, and we've got a tie game now as we move to the 4th inning. Alongside Kyle Peterson, I'm Clay Matfitt. As Jared Mitchell for LSU takes ball 1. Great to talk with Skip Burton. Yeah. Great interview with him in the 3rd inning, and we had a chance to do that last year during the Super Regionals, and not a better baseball man in the country.
He's seen so much. I mean, legitimately built this program into what it is right now. 5 national titles and I mean, brought so many more eyes to college baseball than were there before.
One of the teams during those great teams of the 90s, I think it was the 97 title team, the one that you ran up against, hit 188 home runs in one season. That's still,
it was that team,
and probably always will be a league record or a NCAA record.
Yep. I got a couple of those off of me. A couple more than I would have liked. That was, I mean, that year was incredible. I mean, that was the year that Berkman for Rice hit 41 home runs, I think, and Brandon Larson for LSU hit 40. It was the following year that SC won the national title game against Arizona State 21-14. 21-14, it sounds like a football score. And really, from that point on is when they started mandating the bats a lot more, and the game has come back to what it is right now.
Jared Mitchell, soft fly. This is going to be a tough play for the shortstop, Haig, and he can't come up with it. And Mitchell will coast into second base. Got to give him a hit on that, right?
Yeah, no, I think you absolutely do. And I mean, it's almost an impossible play for the shortstop, but it's a play the left fielder has to make. And the problem with Fuda was the first step. When this ball went up, I think he thought the ball was deeper. So he froze, took a step back, and that was the difference between being able to get to that ball. I mean, Haig's got to be 40 feet onto the left center field, plus his back's entirely turned, and you got to time it right. That's one where you got to hope your left fielder gets a good jump, because if not, shortstop's in a big hole.
Well, they're going to give a double to Mitchell. That was a tough play for Haig, no question. And so now Mitchell in scoring position for Sean Ochenko. One of the 5 strikeout victims for Ryan Berry so far tonight. He hits. And he strokes it into left field. Mitchell is going to be held up by the third base coach, Javi Sanchez, and it's a good thing because Fuda threw it right on the money to home plate. All right, let's take a look at our Coke Zero game track. And the big news so far tonight, the injury to the star player for Rice, Anthony Rendon. He's gone.
This changes this team so dramatically. Rendon hits right in the middle of the lineup. I'm talking to Skip Bertman off camera. Said he was, I mean, probably one of the most exciting players in the entire country. But Brock Holtz picked him up. The leadoff hitter, now 2 home runs in 2 games. LeMahieu started things off with a leadoff double, came around to score, but now this LSU offense showing some signs. A little bloop double from Mitchell to start it. And that was a pretty good swing by Ochenko right there.
At the corners, nobody out for Helenihi. Takes Highland. Helenihi with an excellent play to end the bottom of the 3rd inning at third base. And even got a round of applause from Skip.
He deserved it on that one. That was a bullet.
Back up the middle. And into center field. Mitchell will score. Going to third is Ochenko, and he is out. Soltzbaugh on the money with the throw from center field to get the out, but a run comes in, and it's 2-1 LSU.
Ball that off the bat looks like they have a chance to make a double play, and it's a decision for Holt as to whether or not he can backhand this ball or get in front of it. When it gets by him, the center fielder Soltzbaugh, though, does not slow down. Absolute strike to Camarada at third base, drops that tag right on the top of Ochenko. And that's a big out for LSU. I mean, you talk about the change. If he stays at second base, you got guys on first and second, nobody out, and a run in. Now with an out, totally changes the entire inning. Pretty good play by Soltzbaugh to not give up, charge that ball when it's hit up the middle, and then a strike on to Camarada.
I've been impressed with Soltzbaugh. He's a junior college transfer. He's fit in nicely with this Rice Owls team. Now Austin Nola. A double his last time up. .242 on the season. He's raised his average 13 points here in the last 2 days. Helenihi away from second. Fly ball right field. Chad Mazingo fighting the sun a little bit out there. Makes the catch for out number 2. Ryan Berry, a junior from Humble, Texas, gave up a run in the first inning. Got out of trouble, though. And that's the only run he gave up until here in the 4th.
the thing we're seeing is that pitch count just continue to go up, and look at the difference between these two. I mean, almost 2-to-1 difference so far. Barry getting close to 80. Now, granted, he's already gone now 2/3 of an inning longer than Coleman, but the gap is just as big when you look at balls and strikes. I mean, Coleman about 75% strikes to balls, and Barry's closer to 50%. Even though it's a 2-to-1 ball game, they've looked a little bit different on the mound so far.
Back to the top of the order, and DJ LeMahieu. And Craig Manuel is going to come out for a chat with his pitcher as Jared Rogers, the right-hander, starts to warm up for Rice.
I don't think you're going to see Barry come out of this game unless they hang about 4 or 5 on him. That or that pitch count gets up north of 120. I mean, he still gives you your best chance to win. He's been that guy in the middle of the Rice rotation for the last 3 years, and I know that Rogers is up and throwing, a kid that's close for him most of the year this year. But I would think Barry's going to go as long as he possibly can today.
LeMahieu a double to start the game. Came around to score the first run. And this one is going to spin out of play down the right field line. The last time up for LeMahieu, he grounded to short, and the throw was down the line between first and home. But the first baseman, Jess Binger, slapped a beautiful tag on LeMahieu to end the inning.
After just coming into the game, Binger hadn't been in a game for 10 minutes. He gets a play like that over at first base. The thing that sticks out, though, the pitch count to Barry so far, and the 2 walks. I mean, one of them was one that he probably doesn't mind, but Barry, a guy that just historically has not hardly walked anybody.
LSU has regained the lead here in the 4th. Manuel knocks it down. We'll call time. You were saying before that Manuel's been the designated catcher, so to speak, for Ryan Barry. Kind of a surprise considering Barry's roommates with Diego Seastrunk.
Yeah, I mean, Manuel, too. I mean, he's only a freshman. I mean, a kid that came in, they needed a catcher. They found him. David Pierce saw him in a showcase, called Wayne Graham and said, you know, we got to take this kid. He can really receive. He hits enough, and he's definitely hit enough this year. He's hit 300. But as a freshman, has really filled an important role for him. They didn't know who was going to catch him. I mean, Seastrunk made the transition in the fall, but Manuel's really done a good job of solidifying him at least part of the time.
LeMahieu to second. Brock Holt has it, and LSU is done here in the 4th inning, but they get another run. And the Tigers lead at 2-1 as Rice has to win to force a Game 3 tomorrow.
Ryan Burr in studio. Just a reminder, the Belmont Stakes about 6 minutes from now over on ABC. Kentucky Derby winner Mind That Bird is the favorite. Calvin Burrell on board, looking to become the Triple Crown jockey. Post time 6:25. Once again, that over on ABC. Clay and Kyle.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. And a reminder, the Road to Omaha continues on ESPN tomorrow with regional coverage. From the Super Regionals, you're going to see either Texas take on TCU or Virginia and Ole Miss in Game 3. Super Regionals presented on ESPN by Capital One tomorrow at 3 Eastern.
It's pretty good matchups going on. How about Brian O'Connor's Virginia team, too? Fighting back to get 2 in the 8th off of an error to start the inning and a walk. Both those come around to score. They beat Ole Miss 4-3, and TCU jumps out on top of Texas already 1-0 today.
Jess Binger put in the lineup after Anthony Rendon suffered an ankle injury. Rendon taken out of the game, and it's the first time he's been taken out of the game all season. Binger to left field. Ryan Schimpf is out there, and he's got the play made. 1 down. Let's go back to the 2nd inning. It was a harmless enough foul ball that Rendon ran into a shortstop on.
You could hear him. Did you hear him that time?
Yeah.
The minute he got stepped on. What's sad about this, too, is I mean, if this ends up something that isn't just a sprain, and sadly it doesn't look like it is. I mean, obviously it hurts Rice today, and if they advance, it hurts them in Omaha. But, I mean, this kid was going to get a chance to do something pretty special this summer as well. Was on the early invite list to Team USA. Was, I mean, you got to think a lock to make the national team. They get a chance to travel around the world and wear your country on the front and continue to play baseball all summer. And you just feel for him right now.
Here's the kicker. It's his 19th birthday today, so what a birthday present.
And he's still smiling.
Yeah, that's the thing. The guy is the most affable guy you want to ever meet.
This kid is, I mean, he's got a chance to do some really special things. He's got a perfect temperament.
Seastrunk toward the power alley, and it's going to get in for a hit. Matuk crashing into the wall out there. Seastrunk still going, trying for 3, and he's in with a triple. First hit of the Super Regional for Diego Seastrunk. And Rice has something going here in the 4th.
He took a chance right there. He took a big chance right there because Matuk looks like he's got a chance to catch this ball. And I think it goes a lot further than even Seastrunk thought. I mean, it looked like he was out in front of it a little bit. Watch Matuk kind of slows down and thinks he's there. And in the end, can't quite get to it. It's just out of his reach. Seastrunk pulls up, and now he gets going. But I thought he was in trouble right when he rounded second base. I mean, if this throws on line to third base, he's out. It's high, slides in safe, and now Rice back at business. A guy in third here with 1 out. When we talked to Wayne Graham about Diego Seastrunk, he said he really swings the bat well against guys on the mound that can really pitch. It just locks him in more and does it right there against Coleman in a big spot.
4th hit for Rice. And Michael Fuda takes a healthy cut. It's 1 strike. Fuda struck out back in the 2nd. Fuda, a former 2-sport athlete at Rice. He was playing football for the Owls, now concentrating on just baseball. And a suicide squeeze, but it's going to produce a run for the Owls, and Fuda's safe. Tied at 2 here in Baton Rouge on the suicide squeeze by Michael Fuda.
You know, you can't time this any better. The base runner does such a good job of kind of working his way down the line on this to see where this bunt is, and then Fuda beats it out. I mean, when this ball's down, it was kind of a late break from Seastrunk over at third base, and it might have been a safety squeeze to wait and see where that ball was down the right field line, but on the safety, you want to wait, and if it gets past the pitcher, or at least far enough out, you're going to take off. It was timed perfectly by Seastrunk, and a perfect call by Wayne Graham. Looked like it caught everybody off guard.
Now Coleman dealing to Soltzbaugh. He sends it foul ground right side, and Jared Mitchell, as we can see now, that's a tough play over the mound out there in the bullpen.
I mean, it looks very easy when a guy's running over there, but with these bullpens down the right and left field line, as an outfielder, you're not looking down as much. If you hit the warning track early, you know you're going to get close. But in his case, Mitchell's looking up, watching for the ball, and watch, he's going to go from grass right onto the outfield dirt, and he can't look down. I mean, if he looks down at that point, looks back up, you don't have enough time to catch the ball. So I mean, he's got to kind of guess a little bit where he's at. He made what's a pretty tough play down the right field line look real easy, because you see a lot of guys fall right on their nose right there.
Runner goes. Here comes the throw from Gibbs, and in time he got him on the tag. Austin Nola with a beautiful tag to get Fuda. And Rice is done here in the 4th, but they get a run. A triple by Diego Seastrunk. But how about the freshman with the tag to end the inning? Game 2 of the Super Regional in Baton Rouge, tied at 2, LSU and Rice. As we go to the 5th inning, and here is Wayne Graham, the head coach of the Owls. And coach, we saw Anthony Rendon carried off the field in the 2nd inning. What is his status?
Well, I think they're x-raying it. There's a possibility of a fracture. We don't know yet.
Wayne, how about Ryan Berry on the mound? I mean, he struggles a little bit with his control in the 1st inning. It looks like he's settled in a little bit. From your standpoint, what have you seen?
Well, I hope he's settled in. He was uncharacteristically wild early in the game, but I think his stuff is good. He couldn't get his breaking ball down earlier. And, you know, the runs they've got off of him were largely a result of bloop hits or scratch hits, so hopefully he'll settle down.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Wayne.
Wayne Graham. And first pitch from Berry is high to Ryan Schimpf, the number 2 hitter for the Tigers, hitting here in the top of the 5th. As you know, it's been a tough break here for the Rice Owls, and certainly nobody feels worse about it than Wayne Graham, as We talked about how he feels about his star player, and now he's enjoying a hamburger there on the bench.
He's hungry. Can't blame him. I mean, it just speaks to the kid right there. We were talking about his temperament earlier.
It's a walk to Schimpf to lead off the 5th inning.
Really laid back when you talk to him. And to me, I mean, the biggest testament of what he's done this year is the respect that he's gained from the guys around him. I mean, you gain respect because of what you do on the field, but the respect was beyond that. I mean, it was almost looking at him as one of the leaders of this team. We talked about it earlier, and that doesn't simply come from stats. It comes from the way that you handle yourself and the way that you carry yourself around other guys on the team. And you can tell that he's been accepted into that leadership role just as a freshman.
Even if it's not a fracture, the chances of him playing tomorrow, if there is a game 3,
it's going to happen.
Pretty slim.
I don't think it'll happen.
Dean has a single and 2 plate appearances. And Berry checks Schimpf over at first. And we talked about it yesterday, Kyle, about Blake Dean and the kind of year it's been for the LSU designated hitter. He was hitting .225 March 21st, but his average has come up about 105 points. Here he pulls this one down the line, but well fouled. His power numbers are what you would expect for Blake Dean. His average is back to respectability and then some. 65 runs batted in. Somewhere along the line there, late March, the light just came on.
I think one of the things that gets looked at a little bit too much in college baseball is guys that start slow over 20 games. And remember, if we're talking about a big league season, 20 games is a 1/6 of the year, an 1/8 of the year. I mean, it's less than a month. But in the college season, it's a 1/3 of the year, and so I think it's looked at a little bit differently. Slumps take time to come out of, and as the year went on, Dean did what he's done here. He's hit. You know that he's going to do it over a period of time. It just took him 25 games to do it. Now he's swinging a bat as well as anybody in that club.
Graham out to talk with Berry. This is the 2nd trip to the mound. First this inning. Now the College World Series returns to Omaha, Nebraska. The action beginning on Saturday, June 13th. That's a week from today at 2 o'clock Eastern, live on ESPN HD. For more information on the 2009 College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. And just as he did earlier in the game, that was in the 1st inning, Wayne Graham is going to leave his starter in.
He was talking to him about his finger. I saw earlier in the game, Barry was kind of looking at his index finger. I don't know if he's got a blister going on or his nails breaking a little bit, but it looked like they were looking at his right finger, his right index finger.
They have an interesting relationship, Graham and Barry. It's a love-hate relationship. It's one of respect, certainly.
There's a lot of respect, and I mean, Barry's earned it because of what he's done the last 3 years.
Wayne Graham is a conservative guy, runs a tight ship. He's got some ideas of what a ball player should look like, especially with the facial hair. And as you can see, Ryan Berry hasn't seen a razor in a while. But Coach told Ryan, he said, you know, if your ERA is 2 or below, you can do whatever you want with your facial hair. And it has been.
He's been right on that number.
There was a time, though, earlier in this season where it got a little ridiculous, where he had the mutton chops and a mustache. And I don't think Wayne liked that real much at all.
That was funny when he was talking about it the other day. He said I don't really understand what he did. He said it's like he just shaved his chin and nothing else, and he said it looked terrible. Barry even admitted, and it was gone soon after that. But I mean, Wayne's a guy too that played a lot of pro ball, and for I think as a traditionalist as he is, he also understands you got to give guys room, and I think he does a real good job of that as well.
Toward the gap, off the bat of Dean. Fuda's over there to play it. And Dean is into second with a double. Second and third, nobody out for LSU. Second hit today for Blake Dean.
And when Dean's going well, this is one of the things he can do to you and really hit the ball with authority to left center field. A little fastball that's tailing out away from him and puts a perfect swing on it. Let step ball traveler gets real deep into his swing, and this Ball's hit real well out to left center field. Food almost overruns this ball. I mean, does a good job just to get a bare hand on it, keep it in front of him. That keeps Schimpf at third base, but now LSU just keeps coming here. A run in the fourth to take the lead. Rice ties in the bottom half. Now they have the first two guys on here with nobody out in the fifth.
Jared Rogers continues to work in the Rice bullpen. As Micah Gibbs comes to the plate, a walk and a strikeout so far tonight for the cleanup hitter for the Tigers. And he takes ball one. Gibbs misses being draft eligible this year by just 2 days, and boy is Paul Maneri happy about that.
Broke Paul's heart, I'm sure.
Back up the middle. I think Barry got a piece of it. This will score a run as Gibbs is thrown out. Let's go to the studio with Ryan Burr.
Brian Burr along with Will Kimmey. Back and forth they go in Gainesville. Florida and Southern Miss, a 7-6 game. And Will, Southern Miss puts a 4 spot up in the 6th.
Yeah, Corey Stevens, one of 4 seniors on the team, rips one into the gap, and this is just a merry-go-round of base runners both ways.
9-6 now. Southern Miss on top of the 7th inning.
Thank you very much. Meanwhile, here it is 3-2 now as LSU has regained the lead. And now the number 5 hitter, Mikey Matuk, to hit for the Tigers. A little bit more on Southern Miss head coach Corky Palmer retiring, and you know the Eagles would love to give him a great present by sending him to Omaha. Down the line, into the corner, and just fouled. The first base umpire, Mitch Mealy, on the call.
They just missed, and this place would have gone bananas. I mean, they were just waiting to explode when a ball came off the bat of Matuk. We've talked a lot about Rendona, rightfully so. I mean, he is the most impressive freshman in the country. Matuk's done some pretty special things, too, for this LSU team. Watch how close this is. That's about 3 feet down the right field line. Good eyes by Mitch Mealy over at first base. Worked his way down the line, make sure he had a clean shot at it. That one got Paul Maneri off the bench in a hurry because that would have been a game changer.
As it is, it's 2 strikes now to Matuk. Fights that one off. You know, Matuk is built like a football player. 6'1", 195. His dad, Mike, played football at LSU in the 80s. Unfortunately, he passed away from a heart condition at a young age. But Mikey has a big family. His mom, twin sisters, and especially his dad, brothers, very supportive. Probably here tonight. Goes after that one and strikes out. Out number 2. And strikeout number 6 for Barry.
It's exactly what Barry's thinking in that spot. With the infield drawn in and 1 out, you're looking for a strikeout. You don't want to take a chance. A guy putting this ball in play can shoot it past a drawn in infield, so does a good job of elevating. And look at the freshman catcher Manuel. How he's almost standing up before that ball came in, trying to coax the ball from Barry to be up in the zone. Like when catchers do that, get exactly where they want that ball. He was standing up, making sure that ball was up and out of the zone.
Mitchell is going to spin this one foul. He is 1 for 2. Had a double his last time up. Came around to score. Here comes pitch 100 on the night for Ryan Barry. And he's ahead to Mitchell, 2 strikes. Jared Mitchell, the junior from New Iberia, Louisiana. He's our ESPNU campus connection. Daddy-O's his nickname, and he likes gumbo. I like gumbo, too.
I might have to go get some tonight.
A lot of good food here in Baton Rouge.
We're going to go get some Cajun food tonight.
What did Chris Guillotte bring in? Did you check that out?
Yeah, I peeked at it. We got some. I'm going to wait on it. We got some frog legs in there and gator something. And sometimes you just don't ask. I mean, I'm not sure that I want to know everything that's in there, but I know it's good every time.
1-2. That's going to get all the way to the backstop. Off the glove of Manuel. It's going to allow the run to come in. It's Blake Dean. And it's now 4-2 Tigers.
a plus count, I think, that Berry was trying to throw this ball out of the zone to see if he could get Mitchell to chase, but you're not trying to throw it here. I mean, it looked like it was a changeup that just got away from him, came right out from between the grip and the freshman. Probably a ball he should have had, but definitely not anywhere close to where Berry wanted that ball, and just uncharacteristically wild today. He has not been able to repeat very often. That's something that Ryan Berry can usually do, throw the ball in the same spot time after time, but it seems like one time the mechanics and the ball come out of his hand perfect, and the next time he struggles.
It's the first time that LSU has put up a crooked number here tonight. We have seen Ryan Berry in trouble before in this game, and he's managed to basically work his way out of it. But this time, 2 across for LSU, and the Tigers aren't done yet. It's a walk to Mitchell.
You know, what he did right there, to me, says volumes about what Berry has had today from a struggle standpoint. 3-2 count, and he drops down. And the arm angle kind of come down low 3/4. And to a guy like Mitchell, who's a good hitter, but Berry usually can really control the zone. When you try to get tricky with a guy in that spot, you're not comfortable out there. Watch this. See how he kind of drops down? Goes low 3/4. He hadn't done that the entire game. If you're doing that in a 3-2 count against a guy that is not one of the top power hitters in the country, you're not comfortable out there. That's not when you change things. You can tell he's just trying to find something to where he can be consistent out there.
Now Shano Chinko to hit. Berry is an engineering major at Rice. I mean, he is a smart guy. But you think maybe right there trying to overthink it a bit? Ground ball to short. This should end the inning.
I think he did. I mean, it's when he's comfortable, he's throwing a ton of strikes. He's just looking for that consistency tonight. He just hadn't found it yet.
2 for LSU. They have the lead. We talk with the coach next. LSU 4, Rice 2. The Tigers 1 win away from going to Omaha as we talk with their head coach Paul Mainieri in his 3rd year on the job here in Baton Rouge. And coach, your team has the lead. What was the game plan tonight against their right-hander Ryan Berry?
Well, Berry he challenges you. He comes right at you with the fastball. He throws that splitter or slider, whatever he's throwing once he gets ahead in the count for the most part. But you know, we've had some opportunities we've just let go by the wayside, and only because he's challenged us and we haven't come through. But we were able to scratch a couple across there with Blake's doubles leading the way.
How about Lewis Coleman on the mound tonight? I mean, has thrown a lot of strikes, really hold the one real good swing for Rice, but what have you seen from the side?
Well, I think he's throwing well. You know, it's a hitter's day today. It's nice and warm. The ball's really hopping. So, you know, their kid took advantage of it being ahead in the count, and Lewis had to throw a strike.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Next ball.
Paul Mainieri as Craig Manuel fouls one off here. He leads off for Rice in the bottom of the 5th as the Owls are down 2 runs. You know, Paul Mainieri, and we didn't talk to Skip Bertman about this. We wanted to go there, but we ran out of time. He was hired by Skip, as this one is going to be just fouled down the line. And what an interesting situation that must have been for Skip. He's got to hire the successor for the program that he built, hoping that he's leaving it in good hands. And certainly here in year number 3, it appears that he made a great choice.
Well, he did, and you got to remember, Smoke Laval came in the middle, and that's one of the reasons why they went out and got Paul Mainieri. Smoke Laval was the assistant to Skip for a long time, was kind of seen as the successor, and it wasn't really going along the way that they wanted it down here. They're bringing in Paul Mainieri, who took Notre Dame to the College World Series, and they've been really good. I mean, it took him a year. Last year in year 2, he's National Coach of the Year. They go to Omaha. This year, they're a national seed. And in my opinion are one of the favorites to win the whole thing. He's got a really good club and has built it back in a real short period of time.
Just missing, and it's now a 3-2 count on Manuel. Paul Mainieri with some Louisiana roots, as this one is hit toward the gap in right center field. Playable for Matuk, makes the catch. 1 down. Mainieri played 1 year in the mid-70s here at LSU, then transferred away, and also spent a couple of years at the University of New Orleans. And I have to think that helped when he was applying for this job.
And this is there's a lot of special jobs around the country, but this one stands out above most. And a lot of it is because of the eyes that it brings with it. And obviously there's great baseball history here. We talked with Skip Bertman today. He's one of the main reasons why. But with that has come increased attendance, increased coverage. I mean, we were talking about today in the newspaper. I mean, there was 3 full pages of coverage on the game yesterday.
Camarada taps it foul.
So you got to have a guy that not only can coach and recruit, but can handle all of the other ancillary things that go with it. And there's more here than there is probably anywhere else in the entire country. And that's why I think it makes a difference. You bring a guy in who has a history here.
National Coach of the Year last year, Paul Maneri. Another foul ball off the bat of Camarada, the number 9 hitter for Rice. He is 0 for 1 tonight.
I think the way Camarada's fighting that off, too. I mean, we talked about how tough it is for a right-hander to see the ball off of Coleman. That was really bearing in on Camarada. And that time he got the barrel to it. I mean, hit it foul, but got the barrel to it. Hit it with some authority.
Ball and 2 strikes. Rice has to win this game to force a game tomorrow night here in Baton Rouge. If they don't get it done, LSU is off to the College World Series for the 2nd time under Paul Maneri and for the 2nd straight year. Strikeout number 3 for Lewis Coleman. 2 down. Brock Holt had a home run yesterday and a home run here tonight.
Quick swing from the left side. Wayne Graham talked about his power when we talked to him earlier this week about this Rice team. We've seen it both times really ripped to right field. This one started it off today. Fastball down and in. Leadoff hitter goes deep to start that back in the 3rd inning for Rice. But to me, everything Holt has hit to the right side has been hit with authority. Single to start the game, goes deep in the 3rd inning. But it's because of that short swing. The ability to plug Holden at second base has allowed him to solidify the infield, move Camarada around a little bit as well.
Hits this one sharply through the hole on the right side. And it's a 2-out single. 3rd hit of the game for Brock Holt. As his average is right around 350 now on the year.
Kind of hangs over the plate, too. I mean, stands right on top of it. His hands are hanging out over the plate, dares you to throw that ball inside. But what he's trying to do is get everything he can to pull until he's more comfortable hitting anything to the right side.
Haig 0 for 1. It's been on once after being hit by a pitch in the 1st. Holt over there at first. Strike 1. Lewis Coleman, drafted by the Nationals last year in the 14th round, turned it down to come back to LSU. And Tigers certainly glad he did. He's 12-2 coming into this game and has pitched well for the Tigers so far tonight. Well, that hit him again. That got him. So 2nd time Haig has been hit by a pitch tonight from Lewis Coleman.
And both times on fastballs and both times in almost the exact same spot. I mean, you can tell what the book is. They're trying to throw fastballs inside to Haig. But the problem with Coleman is if it gets away from him on the inside part of the plate, see how far that ball moves? I mean, that starts over the inside half because his hand is kind of getting around it and not getting over the top of the ball. The ball has a ton of runs. So it's staying pretty flat. It has a ton of run, and it runs right into the right-handed hitters. And Rick Haig has shown he's not going to move. If you're going to throw that fastball inside and it's going to bear down on him, he'll take it and take first base. Now on for the 2nd time.
So now Chad Mazingo to hit for Rice. Mazingo 8 home runs on the year.
I think this is where you have to get him. You got to get Coleman from the left side because it's just such a easier look from a left-handed hitter. Right-handers are not going to hit him very often. So your left-handers really have to take advantage of the fact, and we heard Skip Bertman talk about it when he was on. He doesn't have anything that's soft that's going to go away from him. He's primarily a sinker slider guy. So if he throws an off-speed pitch, it's going to come back in towards the barrel. Left-handers in this Rice lineup. So in this case, Holt, Mozingo, and Seastrunk really have to take advantage of that.
One strike. Checked his swing back to Coleman, who does a nice job coming off the mound, and a strong throw. And again, Coleman showing some emotion coming off. Rice strands two. It's 4-2 LSU.
Orion Burr, Will Kimmey in studio. 141st running of the Belmont, and Summer Bird wins 25-80 for the winner. Dunkirk comes in second. Mind That Bird, the favorite, gets the show. College baseball, Texas and TCU. Michael Torres showing some power, Will.
That's just his third of the year. Texas, not a home run hitting team, but hey, it's the postseason. That's what Texas does.
They'll take it. 3-1 Texas over TCU. That on ESPNU, guys.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. And a reminder, the NBA Finals continue on ABC tomorrow night. Game 1, Kobe and the Lakers really took it to the Magic. Now Orlando trying to regroup and steal home court in Game 2. Coverage of Game 2 begins with the GMC NBA Countdown. It's at 7:30 Eastern Sunday, 4:30 Pacific over on ABC. LSU to hit now here in the 6th inning. It's 8-9-1 for the Tigers, leading 4-2. And Derek Helenihi, 2 balls and no strikes at the plate. He has an RBI single to his credit tonight. His big contribution for LSU this postseason, a 3-run homer against Bama in the SEC tournament. That was on May 21st. It proved to be the game winner. He came into the game last night as a defensive replacement, and even some of the non-starters can be big players this time of the year, Kyle.
They absolutely can, and Helenihi's a guy who was a starter last year. And he started for a lot of the year for this LSU team and played a big part in their run to Omaha. But a guy that as the season went on, kind of a background role, but now if you can plug him back in, it's great to have that kind of experience. Freshman Tyler Hanover started playing a lot of third base. Helenihi was relegated to a backup role.
And this is hit very deep to right field. Has a chance to get out of here, and does. Leadoff solo home run for Derek Helenihi, and it's 5-2 Tigers.
I forget backup role. You start swinging a bat like this, Helenihi's going to stay right in the lineup for LSU. And talk about the big home run he had in the regional. How about the ability to take the ball the other way? Berry coming in, fastball away, and Helenihi takes advantage of the right spot to hit the ball. The ball's going to fly to right field. I mean, the flags are not blowing all that hard in center, but if you get it up in the air to right, you've got a chance, and it just has not been Ryan Berry's day. He just has not looked comfortable.
And now he hits Nola. And Wayne Graham is at the top of the dugout, and he's going to make his way out. Ryan Berry at times able to wiggle out of trouble here tonight, but looks like it's going to be all for Ryan here in the 6th. Call to the bullpen. Jared Rogers set to pitch for the Rice Owls. Another run for the Tigers of LSU. They lead it by 3. Back in a moment. Of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals, presented by Capital One. Follow us on the road to Omaha on Facebook and on Twitter. Search ESPN College World Series on Facebook for all of the great behind-the-scenes stuff there. And then my good buddy here, KP, Kyle Peterson, is giving you great stuff on Twitter. And he's going to continue to do that in his great hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. So are you going to take that thing home with you to the computer at night and make sure that everybody knows what your thoughts are after the day's over while you're relaxing?
A little bit last night. Did some today during the early games. We kind of get some stuff on there every now and then.
Okay.
I'm watching most of these games anyway, man. That's
right.
Can't turn them off. It's a tough day for Ryan Berry. And really not what we expected to see, I don't think. What sticks out the most is the 4 walks. I mean, he at times can give up some hits, although he hasn't done it very often this year. But 4 walks to me is the telltale sign with Barry, because he just didn't have the ability to control it. Now they go to the bullpen and Jared Rogers, who you get 2 Rogers in the bullpen. Jordan Rogers was the closer for most of the year for this Rice team. Jared Rogers, a big kid, a junior college transfer, pretty good stuff. Numbers aren't great. It's .675 ERA. He's given up more hits than innings pitched, but not a lot of walks. And in this case, I think that's what you want if you're Wayne Graham. Just somebody who can come in and throw strikes.
And LeMahieu lays it down. Rogers throws it to first for the out. But Nola's able to move into scoring position. Sacrifice for LeMahieu. 1 out. Again, if LSU can win this here tonight, they're off to home. And you and Skip mentioned this when we talked to Coach Bertman in the 3rd inning. Changes that are happening in Omaha. Last couple of years at Rosenblatt, so if you get a chance to go this year and next,
go check it out. Just 2 more years. 2 more years. New ballpark being built right downtown. It'll be beautiful too. I mean, right downtown Omaha.
Ryan Schimpf takes down and in. 1 ball and no strikes.
Not going to be Rosenblatt. You never replace the old one. And you know what? I mean, they're doing it for the right reasons. It keeps the College World Series in Omaha for the next 27 years, which is great. 2 more years and another 25-year commitment from the NCAA. That's where it ought to go. Should never leave. The city's really adopted it, and I think the game's really adopted the city.
This is going to skip away from Manuel, get all the way to the backstop. LeMahieu now just 90 feet away, or excuse me, Nola, I should say, 90 feet away from another LSU run.
You see the freshman Manuel really trying to work back there. Fastball that goes about 58 feet. And as a catcher, there's just nothing you can do except try to throw your body in front of it. That ball's a good foot inside. Manuel try to throw his body over there and get something in front of it, but when it's that far out in front, you really got to guess as far as where the first bounce goes, and just shot over the top of his shoulder.
Tapper back to the mound, and they've got Nola hung up. They tag him out, and now going into second base smartly is Schimpf. And that is a well-executed rundown.
Is a well-executed rundown, but I think it's a spot here if you're the freshman. You got to let this ball get past the pitcher. I mean, a lot of times, third base coach will tell you 1 of 2 things: either anything on the ground or anything on the ground past the pitcher. And in this spot, I assume they told him anything on the ground, but I think you got to try to wait until this ball gets past the pitcher, because there's just no chance. I mean, it's not hit at all, and you can see he's breaking on impact. So the minute he sees that ball go down, Nola's breaking from third base at least does a good enough job to stay in that rundown long enough. Allow Schimpf to get out to second, but third base in that spot, I like forcing that ball to get past the pitcher, because on any ball back to him, he has that much time, and you got no chance to score.
You know, intentionally walk Blake Dean, who's been on base twice tonight, a pair of hits, a single and a double and a run scored. And they're going to take their chances with Micah Gibbs. He doesn't have a hit tonight, but he did drive in a run his last time up. And the decision here.
I think it's a good move. I mean, Dean's taking some pretty good swings today. He has 2 hits, hit the ball in the gap to left center field, and this is probably one of the most dangerous 2 or 3 hitters on this LSU team. I mean, I like Gibbs. I think he's a heck of a hitter, but I think you play the percentages. Dean's one of those guys that you circle in this LSU lineup. Probably at this point, he and Schimpf, where you say those 2 aren't going to beat us, and you're going to take your chances with Gibbs.
So Gibbs comes up. 2 on and 2 out as we take a look at the bracket. Arkansas, the first to punch a ticket to Omaha, winning earlier today over Florida State to eliminate the Seminoles. And the winner of this series will play the winner of the Ole Miss Virginia series, game 3 tomorrow afternoon on ESPN. And you talked about Brian O'Connor and the Virginia Cavaliers able to get things done today against Ole Miss. And there is a tie between O'Connor and Paul Maneri.
Oh, yeah. I mean, O'Connor, the pitching coach for Paul Maneri at Notre Dame for 9 years before he took the head job at Virginia. Talked to Paul Maneri before the game, and he was just beaming. O'Connor's still a guy that I know he's very close with. And if those 2 advance, if LSU advances and Virginia advances, they'd meet in Omaha in game 1.
That'd be something.
Yeah. Mike Bianco on the other side of that, the head coach at Ole Miss. I mean, really, you look at Bianco and Brian O'Connor, probably two college coaches that you look at and say, one of them's due. I mean, one of them is due to take their team to Omaha. The good thing is one of them will get there this year. They've both been pretty close. First super for O'Connor, but Bianco's been there for the last 5 years at Ole Miss.
And Arkansas is already on its way to Omaha. Dave Van Horn, what a great job he's done with the Razorbacks. After doing some wonderful things in Nebraska. Breaking pitch into Micah Gibbs. 1-1 the count. Rogers on for Rice. This is Jared Rogers. We saw Jordan Rogers last night. Hit to left. Fairly deep. Fuda has it measured. And Rice gets out of the inning. Good job by Rogers out of the pen. But another run on a home run by Helenihi. It's 5-2 LSU. The road to Omaha continuing on ESPN tomorrow from the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals. You're going to see North Carolina take on the Pirates of East Carolina. NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented on ESPN by Capital One. That's tomorrow starting at noon Eastern. Mike Fox and the Tar Heels leading that series 1-0, and they really took it to East Carolina today.
Some of the power teams that we might get in Omaha. I mean, Texas, the #1 overall seed. They lead TCU early, although good to see TCU in that spot. This is their first super regional ever. Southern Miss, a great story. Florida, one of the top 8 national seeds. We all know about Arizona State and Clemson. Carolina leads early. I mean, this is going to be a great College World Series that starts next week.
And a beautiful night here in Baton Rouge. This series to decide who's going to Omaha between LSU and Rice. And right now, the Tigers in pretty good shape, leading 5-2. They've got one of their star pitchers, Lewis Coleman, on the mound. He's going to start to work here in the bottom of the 6th. And he'll face Jess Binger. Binger leads it off here. And he takes ball 1. Lewis Coleman is a senior. 6'4", 190 pounds, from Slaughter, Mississippi. And he is very proud of his hometown. Chopper to first. Knocked down nicely by Ochinko. He'll take it himself. 1 out. All right, here's our Home Depot coaching clinic.
We're going to talk safety squeeze right here, and this is earlier in the ball game. Fuda, the batter, and watch Diego Seastrunk at third base. Now, he times this perfectly. Notice the break. He didn't go right away. He's waiting to see where this ball goes down. Watch from this angle. He's working his way down the line. On a safety squeeze, you want to wait and make sure that that ball gets down and is past the pitch. Different than a suicide squeeze. Suicide squeeze, you're going to go on the first move of the pitcher. Seastrunk timed it perfectly, made sure that that ball was down past the pitcher, then he scored easily.
And Seastrunk is at the plate here.
You know, what's interesting is there's not a lot of teams around the country that still run that, but the other one that you're going to see run it a lot is Augie Garrido at Texas. I mean, between Wayne Graham and Augie Garrido, a lot of wins, over 2,500 between the two of them. You're going to see those two run that safety squeeze, and they both run it really well.
Is it any coincidence that they come from a different baseball era and they play that way?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that's one of the keys is it's, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't run it very often. I mean, if you ran a squeeze, it was a suicide squeeze. That's a great play, though, because if you're the batter, you don't have to bunt it. Whereas on a suicide squeeze, you got to bunt at it because the guy's coming down the line. You got to protect your runner. But if you're a hitter, if it's not a strike, you can pull it back because your base runner's not coming down. It's not as dire as a suicide squeeze. They got to get the bunt down. He's out in a suicide squeeze. Safety squeeze, it gives you a little bit more flexibility.
Three and one now to Seastrunk, who tripled and scored on that squeeze back in the 4th. Three and two now. Slaughter, Mississippi is located 2 hours south of Memphis, 2 hours north of Jackson, Mississippi. That's where Coleman is from. This one's fouled off, and he came in after we talked with him this week. About 10 minutes after he'd left the room, he came back in specifically to remind us that it's pronounced Slaughter, Mississippi. It's not spelled that way, but it is pronounced that way.
What a great kid, too. We got a chance to talk to a couple players from both of these teams. Coleman was one. He and Blake Dean and DJ LeMahieu from LSU. And we love doing that every time. One, because obviously it allows us to learn a lot about him. But two, you see just how much these kids are enjoying this opportunity.
Left field in the corner. This is going to be a tough play for Schimpf, and it sails out of here. Home run. It had enough carry for Diego Seastrom. A triple and now a home run for Diego tonight, and it's 5-3.
Really like him as a player. And Wayne Graham just smiles when he talks about him and raves about the job that Seastrunk does when he comes up in big spots and what he does against really good arms. Obviously, Coleman's that guy. I like the way he's hit the ball tonight the other way, too. Against Coleman, a guy who's really going to run it away from the left-hander. He stayed on 2 balls, triple the left center earlier game. Then this time, hits a ball out to left field. But you can tell that the approach has been to stay on that 2-seam fastball. Let's run it away from him and try to drive the ball the other way. And got a triple and a home run because of it.
Now Coleman to face Fuda. When we were talking with the LSU players that are hitters this week, they said, yeah, the new Alec Box is playing bigger. We're not hitting as many home runs. The first guy to step up and say, oh no, was Lewis Coleman. And there you see that one carried out against Coleman.
Well, I think part of it too is the day, and sometimes it's hard to explain. I mean, there's days where the ball just feels like it's flying better. Today's one of those days. Skip Bertman said it earlier. Paul Manera said the same thing.
Fuda checked his swing. Did he go? No. Mitch Mealy, the first base umpire, waves it off.
I think Fuda almost thought he went. You see that? He started to walk across home plate afterwards when they looked down at Mitch Mealy. I don't think he did. It looked like he held his hand. That was a little closer than I thought. Watch him. See him start to walk? He thought he was out. Pulled the chute and went back and said, all right, we're ready to go.
He hangs in there. 1-2.
I love the look on his face.
Yeah.
It goes from thinking you're out to thinking, all right, now I've got new life.
Fuda, first year as a starter. Second base to left field in the fall to better utilize his speed. And he hits this sharply to Helenihi, knocks it down, and he's not going to have a play. Helenihi has looked good over there tonight. That was a tough play just to knock it down. And Fuda's aboard.
There's not a lot you can do right here. I mean, the ball's ripped, but the toughest hop is the one that kind of gets you on the lip, and this one's close. Watch this one hopper, and right there, it's about a foot in front of the lip, and a lot of times it'll shoot that ball straight up like it did with Helenihi. You just got to guess at third base because it's hit so hard, and that hop's kind of in that in-between hop area that you've got to guess. But in Helenihi's side, you err on the side to keep it in front of you. So at least in this case, he holds the base runner Fuda to first.
And a strike into Sulzbaum. So Fuda over there at first base thought he had struck out and now gets a single.
Yeah, I mean, it changes the whole inning. And for Rice, and they're only down 2 runs.
Sulzbaum in the air. Catcher Gibbs throws the mask away and gets the out. Big out for LSU here in the 6th inning.
Big out, and a nice job, too, of taking control of the whole field right there. Easiest play for Gibbs. You turn around right there. The ball's coming back in towards fair territory. And look at the job that Coleman's done so far. 84 pitches now. We're almost through 6 innings. And nobody up and throwing in the bullpen. They haven't even taken anybody down there yet. So you want to talk about the confidence they have in Lewis Coleman. The SEC pitcher of the year this year. Pitch count still fairly low. And even though it's a 5-3 ball game, there hasn't been one person run down at that pen yet.
Talked about his demeanor. A hat off, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am kind of guy. But we have seen him be very emotional tonight, and the guys talk about what a fierce competitor Lewis Coleman is. A couple of times when he's worked on a jams, he has been emotional coming off the mound.
Started in the first inning, pitched himself out of a jam there, and had a kind of a tiger fist pump heading off.
Fouled away by Manuel.
You know, and you'll see that a lot out of Barry too. We just didn't see it tonight. I mean, he couldn't get himself into a kind of a good groove out there on the mound, which usually Ryan Berry does. And it's obviously disappointed. Thought we'd really see two guys on top of their game. Berry was trying to find it. You could tell was just fighting to find something. One pitch that he could really hang his hat on, and just couldn't find a consistency tonight.
This one hit foul ground, left side, long run for Helene, and it's maybe a down foul. And again, that's the area where the accident happened earlier tonight, second inning. The star third baseman for Rice, Anthony Rendon, right there in front of the mound in the bullpen. He was injured as he ran into his shortstop, Rick Haig. Suffered an ankle injury, came out of the game, and he's likely done for the Super Regional. Pitcher's high, 2-2. Crowd getting into it a little bit. More and more now as this game is getting later and later. LSU leading by 2, but interesting to hear Skip Bertman say that this place isn't as loud as the old Alec box.
It's just not quite as compact. I mean, it's beautiful, but bigger, and so not quite as loud.
Easy fly ball. Nolan back on the grass, makes the catch. Solo home run for Diego Seastrunk here in the bottom of the 6th. As Rice back within 2, but it's still a lead for LSU. The NBA Finals continue on ABC Sunday night. Game 1, it was all Kobe and the LA Lakers against the Magic. Now it's Orlando's turn to answer. We'll see what happens in Game 2. Coverage begins with the GMC NBA Countdown Sunday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC. For more information, go to ESPN.com. Here's a look at old Alec Box Stadium, the Intimidator, the national champions billboard that was so intimidating out in right field. Weeds growing up a little bit. Boy, 70 years that was the home of the Tigers. So many great memories made over there. Swung on off the bat of Matuk. He's going to try for 2. It's a leadoff double for Mikey Matuk. LSU's got something going right away here in the top of the 7th.
Matuk not wasting any time here either. First pitch of the inning from Jared Rogers, a little breaking ball that kind of hangs in the zone, and watch the swing of the freshman. Recognizes spin on this one. Hammers it on the left center field. Needs to take a double the minute he comes out of the box. When Paul Mainieri talks about this freshman, he talks about how aggressive he plays the game, almost like he's a football player. This is a really talented LSU outfit. But Mikey Matuk overtook Leon Landry, who we saw last year and might have been as impressive as center fielder as maybe we saw defensively last year. Now the freshman is getting all the time.
Now Mitchell shows bunt, pulls the bat back, takes strike one. Now you're right, Landry made 2 great catches in the Super Regional against Irvine. Both were Sports Center plays of the day. But Matuk beat him out, essentially. And you mentioned that he reminds you of a football player. Well, he was asked to walk on by Les Miles, and he has decided to concentrate on baseball.
He's got a chance to play baseball for a long time, I think.
Mitchell. And got an unlucky bounce off the edge of the turf there.
And a good decision right there by the catcher Manuel, too, with the speed of Mitchell, who might be the fastest player in all of Division I baseball right now. There's no way you're going to throw him out if you barehand this. Watch Manuel, the catcher, come out right here. I mean, at this point, when you see it kick off the grass, you're going to take your chances and hope that it goes foul, because the way that Mitchell gets out of the box, and he's full speed already, there's no chance you're going to throw him out. So Rice gets a gift right there. Now Mitchell in an 0-2 hole. We've seen Paul Mainieri keep the bunt on with 2 strikes. We'll see if he does it with Mitchell right here.
Mitchell expected to be a first or second rounder later this month in the draft.
He's surprised if he's not a first rounder. I mean, he's so fast. And we talked about the plate discipline too, which I love. I mean, that's something a lot of teams are looking for right now.
2 strikes to Mitchell. To short. Haig. He's going to go to third. Got him. Matuk going to be real aggressive there, and he's thrown out.
Real aggressive. I tell you what, at first look, I thought he was in there too. Tough hop for Haig to make this throw. Watch how this ball comes up on him. So Haig kind of has to jump right there, and you can see his momentum is all the way going backwards. I thought the right foot of Matuk got in there in time. Good job by Camarada to slap the tag down, but watch the foot. Does it get in there? I don't know. See what he slid? His right foot kind of pops up right there. Yeah, he's still safe. He's still safe. He got under the tag, so that one could change it. I mean, for all of the momentum that feels like it's still on LSU's side, Rice is only down 2 runs.
Yeah.
And those are big outs right now. That changes the inning for LSU.
And now Rogers to face Sean Ochinko as Matuk goes to the water cooler. Ochinko tonight 1 for 3. First time facing Rogers, and he shows bunt. Runner goes. Here's the throw from Manuel. Not in time. Stolen base for Jared Mitchell. He had one last night. Now 35 on the year.
And this one really goes to the pitcher, Rogers. You can't let him get this kind of a walk-in lead. Mitchell was off and running before Rogers even started to home. Watch what Mitchell does on this late. I mean, he's just the minute that Rogers starts to go, he's at full speed already. Tell you what, pretty good throw by Manuel. That actually made it close. Manuel doesn't have a great arm, but he's really quick, and if this throw's there, they actually have a chance. You just can't let a guy with the speed of Mitchell get a walking lead right there, because he's often going with that kind of a jump. You're just not going to throw him out.
Mitchell now with 69 career steals. He's second on LSU's all-time list. Rob Hartwig had 73 stolen bases in the mid-80s. Inside to Ochinko, it hit him. And he's going to be awarded first base. So first and second and 1 out for LSU. And Wayne Graham is not happy, and he's going to walk out. Travis Wright is up in the Rice bullpen. Graham just wants an explanation from the home plate umpire.
I didn't see anything wrong there. I mean, it caught him on the backhand. Sometimes from the side you can't tell if it hits the knob of the bat or if it hits the back arm. To me, it looked like it caught the back arm of Ochinko. Watch his hands start to go forward. It looks like it catches him right below the wrist. That's that top hand. Arm kind of comes down. Yeah, definitely didn't hit the bat. And you can't tell that it hit his arm right there, but you could see the way that shot from center field, the ball changed angles. So you know that it hit him. And when Manuel can't catch it, you know that he's changing angles right when it gets close to him.
The 6'6", 190-pound junior college transfer Jared Rogers on the mound for Rice. And this one is chopped foul by Derek Helenihi. Good speed on the base paths here with Mitchell at second. Anything that gets through, and it's going to be another run for the Tigers.
Big inning right now for Rice. I mean, you keep it at a 2-run game now, you've really got a chance. I know that Coleman's been throwing the ball well, but still, I mean, you're a bloop and a blast away from tying this thing up. But last thing you want is to get this crowd back into it. And LSU push a couple across, and it's really an uphill battle for Rice.
Helenihi, his last time up, hit that solo home run in the 6th. It got out to right field. 2 years ago, he transferred to LSU from a junior college in Fremont, California. He's made some nice contributions last couple of seasons. Inside, runner going again, and did Mitchell get third? No. Thrown out by Craig Manuel. The second time Mitchell has been thrown out in this Super Regional.
I don't know if I like taking a chance right there. Just, you got guys on first and second up. Helenihi's been swinging the bat pretty well, and I know that Mitchell has big-time speed, but this is just a pretty good job by the freshman man to get back behind. What's tough for a catcher right here is you got to clear yourself from the hitter, but that's a perfect throw. A perfect throw. I mean, he doesn't have a can of it. Watch how quick he gets rid of it. Footwork's great. Right foot's in the right spot, and he looks out from there. Camarada took the throw right on the bag, right where he needed to.
And now 1-2 to Helenihi.
It's the left arm. I think it's the only way he's going to get in there. And yeah, I think he was out. I think he got him on the elbow just before the left arm got in. It was close. I think he just got him.
Seastrunk started behind the plate last night for Rice. Manuel tonight. Back up the middle. The shortstop, Haig, gets over there to flip to second. And that does it for LSU. They threaten but do not score against Rogers. Rice within 2.
Ryan Burr, Will Kimmey in studio. And Cal State Fullerton having their way with Louisville. The long ball, the stolen base, a little bit of everything today, Will.
Yeah, Jared Clark just destroys this baseball, and Fullerton is destroying Louisville the last 2 days. The Cardinals have nothing for the Titan offense.
And Fullerton will move on to Omaha, where they will be one of the favorites. Game 1, Southern Miss in Florida. Bit of an upset here.
Yeah, the Corky Palmer going away tour continues. Southern Miss, the 3 seed, doesn't realize they're not supposed to be winning.
And Southern Miss takes game 1, 9-7.
Could Southern Miss be the Fresno State of 2009? I don't know.
Cinderella story in Omaha. It's always good.
Here's our Coke Zero game track. And the unfortunate news for Rice, Anthony Rendon suffering a game, probably season-ending injury in the second inning.
Didn't look good. His legs still elevated over there in that Rice dugout. But Rockholt has really been the offense for Rice. He hit a home run. Seastrunk hit a home run earlier.
We're going to see Brock Holt hit here in the 7th for Rice. He's due up second. Jimmy Camarada up there now. Rice has its work cut out. They are down 2 as this game is getting late. Lewis Coleman jamming Camarada there. It's foul. 0-2. Here's a look at the injury to Rendon. Right there in the Rice bullpen.
See out of nowhere the shortstop Rick Haig comes in. He's looking at the ball. Rendon's looking at the ball. Nobody's really looking at each other, and like his left foot came down on Rendon's right ankle.
4th strikeout for Lewis Coleman.
This is where he's almost unhittable. If it's right on right and that ball starts on the inside corner and just dives down like it did right there for Coleman, there's just not a lot you can do with the plate. Watch Camarada. And watch where this ball goes. It starts on the inside. See that sink? That's what separates Coleman. When the ball's sinking instead of running, he's really good. And the difference is what he does with his hand. It's one of the things that they've been working on all year, and that was done real well.
And now Brock Holt, who is 3 for 3 tonight, including a home run, hits with 1 out. Ball under strike. Coleman's dad, Hal, and mom, Kathy, come to a lot of the games from Mississippi. Wow, look at that pitch. Completely baffled Coleman. As you see Lewis's line, dad is a rice and soybean farmer. And he is real proud of his southern and country roots. What a play by the second baseman LeMahieu. Boy, did that 6'4" frame come in handy.
We've seen this 2 nights in a row from LeMahieu. Last night and tonight, he timed it perfectly. Watch this, at the very top of his jump, LeMahieu goes all the way up to get it. Remember, he's been playing second base now for about 3 weeks. So a kid that's still learning the position in a perfect spot, playing about 2 feet onto the outfield grass, takes away what could have been extra bases for Rice.
I don't see a lot of 6'4" second basemen in college baseball.
I don't see a lot of them in pro ball.
No. Seems to be working out here in Baton Rouge. What a breaking pitch from Lewis Coleman. Coleman on the year, 123 strikeouts. Just 19 walks all season. He has no walks allowed tonight. 2 balls and a strike to Rick Haig.
Look how quick he works, too. And infielders love when a guy works quick. I mean, he gets the ball, he gets back on the rubber, he's ready to go. He's waiting on the hitter every time. He already has in his mind when he gets the ball back from the catcher what he's going to do next.
Well, that one's in the dirt. Slipped out of his hand a bit. And it is a warm night.
Yeah.
A little muggy.
Still, though, for this time of year down here, I mean, we've had two pretty comfortable days. I mean, yesterday was perfect. Last night was perfect. Tonight's a nice night. Yeah, it was warm when we were down on the field. but it was hot when we were here last year.
Good crowd again. Set a record last night, over 9,300. And Coleman comes back to fill out the count. It's 3-2 now to Rick Haig. Crowd comes alive for Coleman. Got him. Strikeout number 5 for Lewis Coleman, and there's a little bit of that emotion. He's starting to feel it. LSU leads by 2. We head to the 8th. ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals, presented on ESPN by Capital One. Great tailgating here at Baton Rouge. 5-3 LSU leads. And the College World Series returns to Omaha. The action beginning a week from today, June 13th, 2 o'clock Eastern, live on ESPN HD. For more information on the College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. Austin Nola leads off for the Tigers, who lead at 5-3 here in the 8th inning. Alongside Kyle Peterson, I'm Clay Matvick. And Kyle, LSU, when leading after the 6th inning this year, is 47-0. And here we are in the 8th. Doesn't bode well for the Owls.
No, and it looks like Lewis Coleman's getting stronger. I mean, that last inning might have been his most impressive inning so far of the night for LSU.
Jared Rogers on the mound for the Owls, the second pitcher to work tonight. Ryan Berry pitched 5 and then was taken out of the game. Ball and 2 strikes to the LSU number 9 hitter. LSU 50-16 coming into tonight. 50 wins for the first time since 2007. They won 52 that year. Or since the year 2000, I should say, as Nola strikes out for out number 1. Sports Center right now. Let's go to Ryan Burr.
All righty, 141st running of the Belmont Stakes. Mind That Bird was the favorite. It's a different bird, Summer Bird, that wins. Mind That Bird gets the show, over $28 to the winner. Finals of the French Open on the women's side. Svetlana Kuznetsova won the French Open title today, taking care of business 6-4, 6-2, her second Grand Slam title.
Summer Bird, is that who you thought was going to win it?
I wanted to see Burrell win all 3.
Yeah.
On 2 of them on different horses. I think he's a Louisiana guy too, isn't he? I think he rode at a track down here in Louisiana. It's kind of where he made his name.
Roller to short. Haig has it. And LeMahieu is retired. Route number 2.
You know, Rogers has been real good since coming on. And I mean, I could see why Wayne Graham took Berry out. 1, he wasn't very consistent on the mound. But 2, you give up a home run and hit the next guy. And you could see emotions start to get into it for Berry. But Rogers comes on and really pitches his way out of the 6th inning. Throws a scoreless 7th. And now has been real good here, getting the first 2 guys out in the 8th. He's kept Rice close enough to they've still got a chance in this one.
Now Ryan Schimpf to hit. Lays off that one. 1 ball and no strikes. Schimpf hasn't been on yet tonight. He has been on a couple of walks, but no hits. Scored a run. It was his big blow last night that turned things in LSU's favor in game 1. 3-run home run in the 5th inning. It was part of a 6-run inning for LSU. Took the lead, never relinquished it. And really, it's been the Tigers since that point in this Super Region.
Yeah. And it was Rice in total control. I mean, they were just floating along through the first 4 innings of the game yesterday. And LSU was kind of handing it to them. Made 3 errors, and Rice was taking advantage of it. And with 1 swing, once Schimpf took that swing, from that point forward, it's been all LSU.
He's got a 2-1 count as he steps out of the box. Ryan Schimpf is draft eligible. Here it is from last night.
Impressive, too, that it's off a left-hander, and that's what Schimpf had struggled with a little bit this year.
And he's got a base hit here. 2-out single, and LSU has a man on in the 8th. And Schimpf, like I said, he is eligible for the draft here in a week or so. And Paul Maneri says, yeah, I'm going to cry if I lose him, because I'd love to have him stick around.
Could be in that, I mean, 6th, 7th, 8th round. He could maybe go a little bit earlier than that. And that's the tough spot for college juniors. And enough money to buy you out of coming back and playing your senior year.
Now Blake Dean, who seems to have really found his groove. I mean, he's been in it for a while, but it has continued here in the postseason. Paul Maneri said once Blake stopped trying to hit home runs and started hitting home runs. And on the hands, a little jam shot to the shortstop, Rick Haig. And that does it. So LSU gets a man on. Stranson here in the top of the 8th. 5-3 Tigers. Getting late for Rice.
The NCAA Super Regionals is presented on ESPN by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
There is the living, breathing mascot of the LSU Tigers, Mike the Tiger. Mike number 6, as it is. And he has got some nice digs here on the campus of LSU. In fact, that little playground for him was remodeled about 2 years ago. Big swimming pool for him over there. It's not that far from Tiger Stadium, the football home of LSU. And I'm surprised that with all the new digs over here at new Alec Box Stadium that they didn't make a little playpen for him over here during games.
Little second home.
Yeah.
Putting the seat out behind right field. We got to go over and see that.
It's a nice cat.
That's a great setting here too. I mean, you got that football stadium in center field. So much history there, obviously, but just a mammoth.
3, 4, and 5 to hit for Rice in the 8th. And Chad Mazingo takes ball 1 from Lewis Coleman, who has been brilliant here tonight. He has scattered 8 hits, 3 runs from Rice. 7 really good innings from the right-hander.
Really, a couple swings have hurt him. I mean, 2 home runs and a triple. It looks like Mattiot. No, that's Bertuccini that's now up and throwing. We saw him last night. Bertuccini, a guy that can throw just about every night. Mattiot, the freshman closer, not up and throwing yet. But I would think if you're Paul Maneri, you'd like to see Coleman finish this one if he can. I mean, he's been that good up to this point. Looked really strong last inning.
Missed off the inside corner. 3-1 now to Mazingo as the pitch total is up over 100. 106 for Lewis Coleman.
Look at how many strikes he's thrown though. I mean, 2-to-1 strikes to balls at this point. That's a great number. If you're throwing 65, 66% strikes, that's exactly where you want it. You get beyond that, obviously it's even better, but he's really filled up the zone so far tonight.
There's a base hit to center, leading off the inning for Mazingo. Hit number 9 for Rice. LSU got a great performance from their starter last night, Anthony Renato. Went 7 2/3, struck out 9. He picked up his 10th win, and we're seeing equally as good stuff from Coleman today.
Look at that walk column. None between the two of them, and that was the biggest difference last night. It was a big difference tonight. Rice walked 6 guys last night. They hit 3, so 9 free base runners last night for LSU. Tonight Barry walks 4, and it just changed the whole game. He was good. He pitched without his best stuff. Renato really battled last night.
And a strike to Binger, and the crowd will help any pitcher. You get 9,400 people or more than that behind you, it's got to be an advantage.
Now think, though, about the injury to Rendon, because this is his spot. And we've got Binger coming up, who's a senior and obviously can do some things, but Rendon would be coming up with one swing and could tie it.
fouls this one off. He's behind in the count, 2 strikes to Coleman.
And they're still in a decent spot. I mean, you got Binger now, you've got Seastrunk coming after him, who's already hit a home run. But obviously, you take a guy like Rendon out of the middle of this lineup who's hitting 4th, and now potentially would have come up with a spot to tie it here in the 8th inning. Got to be tough. I mean, I know he's been smiling a lot of the game, but I don't care how good of a disposition you have. You know it's tough to sit there and watch.
It's been an up and down career for Binger. In 2007, he was a regular in the Rice lineup. Last year, a foot injury kept him out of the lineup for quite a bit of the time. And this year, with the emergence of the other guys, he hasn't played a lot. Hit well to right field. And on the warning track, running it down is Mitchell. But that was pulled pretty solidly by Binger. But it's out number 1.
Thought he got it when it came off the bat. You could see immediately the route that Mitchell took that it didn't have quite enough. But the sound of it and the way that the ball came off the bat, and really the way that the ball's been carrying to right field, looked like this ball had a chance to carry out, but it had just a little bit of topspin. Binger got extended. Let's see Mitchell with a good break, and he's going to catch it just in front of the track. But now the pitch count for Coleman starting to inch up there. Now over 110. That is 111th pitch right there to Binger.
Diego Seastrunk swinging a good bat tonight, a triple and a home run. Seastrunk earlier tonight was warming up in the Rice bullpen.
I want to see him. I mean, Wayne Graham talked about him on the mound. I mean, he can run it up 93, 94 miles an hour. I'm surprised that we haven't seen him yet. Hadn't pitched that many innings this year. I think about 5 innings on the season, but he can really run it up there. We talked about Seastrunk from a professional standpoint. They moved him behind the plate tonight, or excuse me, during the course of the year, primarily because of Rendon. He's DH tonight. The freshman Manuel is caught. And Wayne Graham thought I gave him the best chance to play pro ball, maybe separate himself behind the plate as a big-time arm. He threw a guy out last night on a ball that he blocked. It was just a seed out to second base.
2-1 now to Seastrunk, as LSU has quite a bit of activity in its bullpen. A righty and a lefty warming up. The left-hander is Jones. He has joined Bertassini, and I know you really want to see him pitch too.
He's a great story on the mound.
Fouled straight back. 2-2. Here is Diego Seastrunk in the 6th inning, and didn't think that this was going to get out of here at first, but it just kept going.
Well, look at the approach too. I mean, you can tell he's trying to go the other way. That ball had great backspin to left center field. He had tripled to left center earlier. This one a little bit closer to down the line. And now the Tiger faithful coming to their feet here, try to give Coleman just a little bit of a jump start here in the 8th.
Trying to do the same thing going the other way.
I think that's the approach. I mean, when a guy throws across his body like Coleman does, the toughest pitch to make is that fastball inside to a left-hander, because all of your momentum's going kind of towards the third base side of home plate. So you got to reach all the way across your body to get that ball there. He's made it at times, but he's most inconsistent on that side of the plate.
Runner goes to second, taking the double play out of order as Mazinga was in motion. 2 outs. NCAA championship update now. Let's go to Ryan Burr.
All right, joined by Will Kimmey. Texas and TCU. Barn burner right now. TCU down 2, but not for long, Will.
Yeah, senior Matt Verne with a home run, 16 for him. Matt Carpenter, another senior, hit 1. That's the 3rd home run of the day for the Horned Frogs.
And Texas in business now. Bottom of the 6th inning. They lead it 5-4. Longhorns take the lead.
All right, Ryan and Will, thank you very much. We take a look at that side of the bracket. Texas and TCU. And Southern Miss leading that series with Florida 1-0. And North Carolina put a spanking on East Carolina in game 1 of that series.
Alex White struck out 12 in that game. North Carolina had 17 hits in game 1. It looks like Mike Fox's team back to its old tricks. They are loaded.
Lewis Coleman, 7 2/3, getting a visit on the mound, and it looks like he's going to stay in there.
Yeah. I think that was probably more of a scouting report trip than anything else. David Gruey out to talk to him, the pitching coach for LSU, and I think they're going to bring him out here. But with a left-hander and a right-hander available down in the bullpen, if they take Coleman out, they'll probably play matchups, try to get through this inning and then bring Ott into the ninth. But I think at this point it's Coleman's game unless Rice can push one across.
2 outs for Michael Fuda. Swings and hits it to right field. Should be an easy play for Jared Mitchell. And after the visit, Coleman. 1 pitch, 1 out. LSU continues to lead 5-3.
Ryan Burr, Will Kimmey updating Texas and TCU. Horned Frogs tied it on a 2-run home run. Texas comes right back, Will.
Connor Rowe, great athlete, really reminds me of former Texas star Drew Stubbs in the outfield and here at the plate, coming through in the clutch.
And Texas now 5-4, bottom of the 6th inning. And coming up at the top of the hour, expecting to see United States versus Honduras in the FIFA World Cup qualifier. The start of our coverage will be moved to ESPN Classic. The game is supposed to start about 8:25, so as soon as we're done here, it will be moved to ESPN. For now, it's heading to Classic.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. LSU leading 5-3 as this one moves to the 9th. Game 2 of the Baton Rouge Super Regional. Winner of this series goes on to Omaha. LSU taking game 1 last night, 12-9. And the Tigers looking for insurance here in the 9th. It's Micah Gibbs, Mikey Matuk, and Jared Mitchell, the scheduled hitters against Jared Rogers. Rogers came on in relief in the 6th inning. He gets a fly ball left side. And it's going to be caught by Haig for out number 1. A Pontiac game-changing performance. No doubt, Lewis Coleman, the right-handed starter for LSU. What a night.
The starting pitching that LSU's had the last 2 nights. Renata was so good last night, went 7 2/3 and dealt. Coleman more the same tonight. Pitched out of a couple jams. Picks up a couple solo home runs. A triple to Diego Seastrunk, who scores on a safety squeeze. But other than that, I mean, he has been really good tonight.
Matty Coleman is the closer for LSU. In fact, set a new LSU single season record for saves this year with 15. And do we see him in the 9th, or does Coleman come back out?
I still don't think we do. I mean, we got down there warming up right now, and you can see David Gruey right next to him, the pitching coach. I mean, he's warming up like he's getting ready to come in. I still, where Coleman's pitch count is, I'd be surprised if they bring Ott in to start the inning. It might be a situation where if there's a base runner that comes on, then it's Ott's game. You bring Coleman back out, and if he goes through it, then you let him finish it. But the way that Ott's warming up right now, he's warming up like he's coming into the game.
Matuk. 2 balls and a strike as you take a look at Ott. Right next to David Gruey. Gruey left Michigan State. He was the head coach at Michigan State to become the pitching coach here. To center. Long run for Soltzbaugh, but he's got it. 2 down. What does that say about a program when you get a coach that leaves a head job to become a pitching coach?
And he and Palmineri had a history. They were together at Notre Dame for a while, and Gruey went and took the job at Michigan State. Michigan State was putting some money into their program as well, but it's just such a difference in baseball in these power conferences and the challenges that you have in the Big Ten with weather and travel and all the other things that you really don't have to worry about so much down here. That David Gruey thought this was a better spot. Obviously, you step into one of the top programs in the country.
2 outs for Jared Mitchell. Diego Seastrunk is loosening up for the 2nd time tonight in the Rice bullpen. The bottom 1/3 of the order is due up for Rice in the bottom of the 9th. Last chance for the Owls. 5-3 LSU leads. A trip to Omaha on the line. LSU might be 3 outs away from going to the program's 15th College World Series and their 2nd straight. Lewis Coleman, he's done for the night. 8 innings of work, and he is in line for the win. Getting some hugs in the dugout. What a beautiful performance in Game 2 of this Super Regional. They hand it off to Mattiot, the right-handed closer, a freshman. 15 saves on the year, which set a new program record. And that record stood for 18 years.
That'll be one of the biggest surprises on this LSU team. They thought that he'd pitch, but there's no way that they thought he'd fill the role that he has this year. 15 saves, a third-team All-American, a freshman All-American all over the place. Pretty much a 3-pitch guy. He'll throw a 2-seam and a 4-seam fastball, a good slider, and a changeup. Paul Maneri said he's got more composure than any freshman I've ever had, and he throws a ton of strikes.
First pitch to Sulzbach. Grounded to short. Nola. 1 out. Tigers are 2 outs from Omaha. Coleman right there on the top step, looking on intently. A strike to Craig Manuel. Manuel tonight 0 for 3. Ott has 62 strikeouts on the year, just 4 walks. Deep to right, but Mitchell is there. 1 out from Omaha. Almost 10,000 Tiger fans have come to their feet. And we've got a pinch hitter for Rice. Ryan Lewis is going to hit for Jimmy Camarata. Lewis was the designated hitter last night. Lewis went 0 for 2 in game 1. And Ott misses inside. When he hit Ryan Lewis. So now the tying run comes to the plate, and it's Brock Holt, who has 3 hits tonight, including a solo home run.
I'll give Lewis credit too. The freshman climbed right on the plate right there, and that fastball that was inside, there's no way he was getting out of the way. On first base any way you can. Now it turns this Rice lineup over. He gets to the powerful leadoff man, Holt.
Holt a single in the first, a solo home run in the third, a single in the fifth, and he lined out to LeMahieu at second in the seventh. And here comes Paul Maneri. Brock Holt represents the tying run in this game. He had a home run yesterday. Here's a look.
This one in the ninth too. They got Rice back within 3 runs. Looked like they were out of it. This gave him a chance. LSU would go on to win that game 12-9, and then today in the 3rd inning. Solo shot to about the same spot. This one maybe a little bit further over to right center field. Graham has raved about his second baseman's power. He's put on a show the first 2 days here.
There weren't a ton of great swings against Lewis Coleman. Brock Holt has 3 of them tonight. Yeah. Swung on, down the line, and just fouled. Making a bid for extra bases. But outside of the bag at first.
You see Ochenko playing no doubles over there at first base, not holding a base runner on and hugging that first base line. They're not going to let anything get past him in fair territory. If it gets by Ochenko, they're going to force it to be to the second base side. You want to make sure that if it does get through the infield with the outfielder Mitchell, they can get there in plenty of time. They'll give that base runner second base to not allow a double.
Swung on and ripped again into the corner, but foul. Brock Holt is timing Matty Ott pretty well.
We've seen, too, the approach for Holt is everything he's hit hard has been to the right side. Now with 2 strikes, that'll get everybody on their feet here.
Got a piece of it to stay alive.
Good slider. Good slider for the freshman. We've seen him throw a lot of strikes. He hit, obviously, the 9-hole hitter Lewis. Put him on first base. But other than that, he's thrown a ton of strikes. And this time shows a tight little slider. I thought he was trying to wrap it around Holt's back foot.
Just missed. This Alec Box crowd wanted it. It misses off the plate.
Change up, and I think they're trying to get swing and a miss from Holt right here, and a nice job of taking a look at Coleman. And Tiger bench just waiting to erupt. Ice isn't done yet, though. This kid can change things with one swing.
Got him! Look out, Omaha. Here come the Tigers again. For the 15th time in program history, LSU is going to the College World Series. And here's our player of the game, brought to you by Capital One, Lewis Coleman. 8 outstanding innings.
SEC Pitcher of the Year, and you see why today. Coleman comes up in a big spot. The starting pitcher for LSU so good in the entire weekend. Ronaldo gets the win yesterday and goes 7 2/3. Lewis Coleman gets it today, goes 8 complete, and now he'll have a chance to pitch in Omaha again.
So we can update the bracket. LSU moving on. They will be in the Big O a week from today when the College World Series starts on June 13th. They will await the winner of the Virginia-Mississippi series now. And Game 3 coming up Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. A happy Pulmonary and a happy crowd here in Baton Rouge as Louisiana State is going back to Omaha. 5-3 the final, as they take care of Rice in 2 games in this Super Regional. It's been fun, Kyle. Always is when we come to Baton Rouge. So for Kyle Peterson and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Clay Matvick. We send you to our NCAA studio with Ryan Burr. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. So long from Baton Rouge.